Hey yo, hey Selling, hey Smooth, and hey Mark. Wow, a double-handed hey guys. Hey guys. Haven't even seen that. Still too late. Yeah. I should make a like a Smooth first redemption where your name has to be Smooth to redeem it. All right, so I've started the dishwasher. Very important stuff here. Today is going to be about the skill tree system still and also mentoring. He'll be mentoring Peter at a stream uptime of about 2.5 hours. Yeah. Hey, 3D Extended. I'll stop sniping it. No, you don't have to stop sniping it. Smooth just needs to do better. Okay, so there was a comment here that I need to respond to. Does the current instance size and tiles represent what you had in mind originally? Are they too small or too big? This will dictate the portion of the screen resolution. I wonder if we'll manage to get the UI into checkpoint 1. I wonder what UI. It would help a bit with figuring out instance sizes. The viewport of the town can be taken out of the equation. Horizontal instance size and tiles is important. It should be something like this. Okay, if we had 19 tiles instances instead, this leaves us with this much. Yeah. Okay. So originally, what was planned here is that we would have 12 spaces for a battle. Pay serious amounts of virtual hats for that. I'm probably just going to give them all back anyway, though. Yeah, battles have 12 slots for each team. This is tough to say because we could work backwards from any decision. Oh, whoops, I did not mean to click that. All right, so does the current instance size and tiles represent, are they too big or small? All right, yeah. This is tough to say for a couple of reasons. One is that originally, like in the design document, I have it written that we would have 12 like slots per battle, not 9. But I don't know how hectic battles are going to be with even with 9 slots. And I don't know how many battles we're going to end up with at once. It may only be 2 at a time. And finally, we could always, well, I did want all the battles to be showing at once. Yeah, we could always change the UI such that you can always see 1 to 2 battles and have to expand to see the third. Yeah, I'll just write, hey Mudkip. In other words, I think we need to wait and see how the gameplay pans out. So we should just make a decision for now based on, well, I'll say this. So if we want to make a decision now, it should be based on what we know now. Hey, weirdo. Always sounds weird to say, hey, weirdo. Okay, so I have commented on this. Now we have to work on skill trees. Where do we leave off of this? Allow assigning and unassigning points to skills. Okie dokie. What is going on here? What is this? What is this indeed? A couple of numbers changed. I don't know what might have done that. I think I'm just going to close the game and reopen it. Yeah, and I'll just delete these changes. Yeah, I don't know what those were. I should really figure out what's doing that. Maybe it's when I have the game open and I reload or something. Who knows? I want to see where we left off. Assigning skill points is just clicking a button and having it do something. Yeah, so it should be clicking this and having it add a point. The problem is I'm not sure. We don't have proper buttons storing the ID. Although actually we could make let me think about this. We could make a pressed event. This is not mod label, this is mod button. We could make a pressed event here that takes in the ID and never needs a custom button at all. Although how would hovering over it work? Okay, I know how it would work. Can you delete all listeners or something? Like I can say mod button dot pressed plus equal something like this. Then can you just delete them all? Can you like clear these out? C# remove all delegates. Remove all. Oh, it's a static function on delegate? Remove click event. They have like a, is this using reflection? I know you can just subtract the delegate, but that's assuming you have a reference to the same thing. There's, no, you keep track of it. Okay. I'm trying to think of how I want to do this. Because right now, the way that the UI is laid out is such that, where's the skill tree? Yeah, it's such that we have these buttons here and they just get reused. So if we click a different character, this might get populated with whirlwind, and then we click another character and it might get populated with slash. And that means that any event listeners we had would need to be overridden. Or we keep track. There are lots of different ways we can do this. I should just think about a way that'll work and we can worry about whether it's the best way later. So if I'm going to add in new event listeners every time, then I either need to keep track of which ID is in each button or just have the button track that itself. Yeah. Okay, for now, let's just have the button track it itself. So instead of these being buttons, they would be skill buttons. So we just change type to skill button. You can't even do that because we need to instantiate it in. Skill button. Oh, skill button is just a control node anyway. This time next month I'll be in exam season. Well, this month, I'm thanking you for resubbing. Thank you, Mudkip. Actually, this time next month, will I even be here? No, I don't think so. I think I'll be on vacation. So I wish you luck a month ahead of time for your exams. Hope they go well. So this really is just a button. Yeah. Change type to button. And then attach a script, I guess. Source/scene scripts. And this is going to keep track of which skill this is for. Although I guess they're all, well, I guess ability ID. Yeah, so fine. Public ability ID. Cool. And then init can set that. Sure. So now these need to change. Skill button gets saved. Skill tree. We need to replace these things. So instantiate in a skill button. And then we need to rename all this stuff. And I need to fill it out with whatever we had over here. Yeah. And then we call it mod 1 through mod 3. Mod 1, duplicate, duplicate. And delete these. And paste them in here. Cool. So then this changes to be skill button. And we now need to set what it is that which ability you have. Annotation for nullable reference types should only be used in code with a nullable annotation context. What? Feature primary. Oh, I see. This stupid thing. This is a fake error. There, that should fix that, right? Yeah, good. All right, so we put our pressed event in ready. And when you press it, it's going to, I guess, add or remove to a skill. Yeah. So we need to go through all of these skill containers I.get. This is getting these. Oh man, I just want something here, and I already feel like this is a little bit of a struggle, but yeah, let's go make a private. I want to get these things. These are like skill rows. I guess all we really care about are the mod buttons, huh? Get mod buttons for skill. How do we do this? Active abilities. Yeah. Okay, so private I read only list. Skill button. Hey, Remy. How's it going? So this will be get skill buttons, and we'll pass in active ability index. So you have a first and you have a second ability. And yeah, I guess how this already wanted me to fill this out is probably fine. Get this skill container, get children element at that, then get children of type skill button, and then to list, yeah. All right, and then what? It's just not being called? Change return type from read-only list to list. Okay. Remove unused private method, that's fine. Not going to try and type it all out here, but I had a moment earlier. Well, I hope it was a good moment based on the Adam lull. Yeah, I've been doing pretty good myself, except that I've been way more tired than normal lately. I don't know why that is. I had thought that maybe I was getting sick, and maybe it was like I was about to get sick but didn't, and it just manifested as being tired. So I think today will be good. Very awkward situation. Everything turned out good. Well, I hope you'll type it up on Discord. I'd like to hear about it. All right, so the whole reason I did this is because in here, I want to iterate over all of these things. So for each, this is close to what I want. Get skill buttons 0 and 1. I kind of want to get all skill buttons. Concat, get skill buttons 1. All right, each skill button is going to have an on skill clicked. And we're going to take in the current skill button. I think this will work. Yeah. Can we have it generate this method? Yes, we can. Okay, on here, let's just do a print of the button. Skill clicked. Sure. All right, so how do we test this? We need some adventurers to have different skills than other ones. And I don't have a way of doing that just yet. Yeah, I want to add these in a random order. So we're gonna say if gd.rand f is less than 0.5, then add them in this order. Otherwise, add them in the other order. This is just for testing. There. This way, I can tell that the button changed. So now we just need to click the add button until we get 2 different adventurers, and then make sure that clicking these skills works correctly. So let's try it out. So higher adventure, we got boulder and then heal. And then we click again. And we got heal and then boulder. Perfect. All right, now we click these buttons. So execute says execute, cleanse says cleanse, counterattack says counterattack. Good, good, good. That's all perfect. Now I click the next character, and the buttons should reflect their current order. Good, yes. Nice. Hey, Matt. I feel like I'm on the brink of getting ill again, too. Have some signs that usually manifest a day or two before I actually get ill. Oh, man. Maybe you've been getting sick way too much. Just prepare the document. Oh, nice, 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 nice. Yeah, I'll take a look in a couple hours, probably. Assuming, yeah, probably a couple hours. But I'm looking forward to it. I think it should be good. And I hope you're feeling better. Everyone's been getting sick. Yeah, agreed. But I guess that's the problem, doing too much. So now that we know that that's working, we can make this button actually do something. So we know which adventurer is selected, right? How do we get that information? Oh, do we just keep track of the selected class? The character selector does, I think. I feel like the skill tree should probably keep track of this too. Yeah. Get selected adventurer. There we go. And this should be an adventurer. All right, we can just call this now. And over here too, same deal. Okay, so how do we increase the skill level of this? Well, you can get their abilities, and then ability is just a list of base abilities. Base ability has a public level, so we can just increase that or decrease that. Maybe it's easier to wrap that though in like a modify ability level. Public void modify ability level. Then we take in an ability ID and a delta, sure. So get the first one of those. The set accessor is inaccessible? Oh, protected. I think that can just be public. Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. Okay. It's guaranteed to cure you before you get sick. Guarantee, you say. Yeah. Oh, you've been sick too? Oh man. You know what's going around? I hope you feel better too. Yeah, pho is the kind of thing that I don't find myself ever really craving. And then when I get it, it's usually good. So I don't know why there aren't cravings for it. It's like most really good food, I want it every once in a while. But this, I'll just like end up at a place and say, okay, yeah, I'll get some pho. So now we get the abilities component AC, and then AC dot modify ability level, and we'll increase it by 1. Now, when you do this, we need to update the text of the skill buttons. Probably easiest to just, well, I guess we could just do this here. Skill button dot text equals. All right, how do we set the text to begin with? Text mod data dot display name. Okay, so let's make a function here. Private void update skill button label. Skill button, we don't need the ability ID. I get the ability data from the skill button. Okay. Now we do this. Done, 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 done. And Done. Mod data. We just need this on mod button now. I crave it all the time. You want a cup of broth anyway? Yeah, I've never been a big soup person, I guess. It sounds like Raimi is not also a super big soup person. Possible null reference. This shouldn't be possible. And we could just put an exclamation mark here, but I'm not sure if somehow it will be possible. Will it be that you don't have an adventurer? I guess if the adventurer is null, we can just return. Probably is. Oops, this is the wrong game entirely. How did that happen? Because I opened Godot up and it's the second instance now instead of the first one. Okay, so all we should see happen actually is nothing because I forgot to modify the button. Oh, well, that was a fun test. Let's go fix the test. When you update your skill level, we need to set the text so that in parentheses we get the level of that. Interesting. Ability data shouldn't have a level. It doesn't. Yeah, we need to get this from the selected adventurer. Get selected adventurer. This is another one of those things that just shouldn't ever be problematic. Let's do that. Okay, so get their ability level, and then do we have something in this that gets you a particular ability? Get, modify, initialize. No, we just have abilities, and it's just a collection. Okay, so let's make a public base ability, get ability. Cool. Then we can do this down here too. Get ability, ability ID dot level. Then we can do this in this as well. Yep. This is going to be get ability. Cool. So base ability, ability equals get ability AC. And we want the ID. And then from here we can get the level. There's ability data in there. Where is that used? This doesn't know its own name? Huh. I might want to do that eventually. I'm going to write that down. Consider storing ability data in the ability directly. What else is in there? It's a name and it's which mods correspond to it. Yeah, should be read only. It would simplify some things that I do, e.g. setting a skill button name. I could, yeah. Question about Cloudflare Tunnel. May I ask about it now? Whatever you prefer. Yeah, asking here is totally fine. And hey, Dad. All right, well, we got this set up this way for now. I think this is okay. So when we get the ability, we need to get the ID from the skill button. Yeah, this is further reason why I should probably do this a little bit differently. What do I think of Salesforce? I don't probably really have too many thoughts about it, I guess. I don't know too much about what they do. I'm not up to date on news. I went to Salesforce, the building in a nearby city once. They have a nice building. I doubt that's what you want to know about. Is there anything in particular that happened recently that's making you ask that? Or is it just like reputation as a company? Because I'm very much not in the know about pretty much any of this. So now in parentheses, we're going to put ability level divided by 5. Yeah, let's take a look at that. All right, so we see 1 out of 5 for all of these. That's actually not correct. And clicking them does nothing. Well, it produces an error. Sequence contains no matching element. Shouldn't this be going to a line of code? Abilities component line 33. The ability doesn't even exist? Oh, yeah, because we never added it. Okay, so this needs to be like that. And then modify ability level, we're going to assume this exists, I guess. Otherwise, there's going to be an error. Yeah, argument null exception dot throw if null. And it'll just be the ability itself. Got the opportunity to go on a free Salesforce admin bootcamp, might do it. Salesforce admin. So this is using their software? I guess if you use their software a lot, it could be a good opportunity. The way I see it is the reason they probably offer it for free is so that there are more people out there in the world who know how to use their software so that then it's got some security. Like sales security, I guess. Made a home server on Debian with 4 tunnels running and love it. However, I've noticed something strange. With Cloudflare tunnel enabled, my ISP seems to kill my internet once a day. So only a few modem restarts help. Their support is the worst, so no help there. I assume they can detect the traffic and try to kill my connection, but do you really think that's the case? Are you 100% positive that it's this? Yeah, this is interesting. Um, Probably a VPN would be your best or cheapest solution. Nothing else really running on it. Once I've disabled the server, no more kills. Weird. Yeah, that's really weird. I'm not even totally sure. I don't know. Yeah, I haven't had this sort of thing happen. I wonder why they'd even be doing that. Like, what do they care if you're using slightly more bandwidth? If you're saturating their connection, then maybe they'd care. But yeah, yeah, I would start by talking to the ISP. Oh, it's illegal to host at home. Okay, well, that's something I didn't know. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. This is sort of above my pay grade. Especially now that you told me it's illegal. So I don't know what advice to give. Yeah, sorry. This is definitely like it's not a Cloudflare problem, I guess. Yeah. Kind of a no code, low code SAB dynamics. Yeah. Oh, I see. They're trying to hire people. Yeah, QA. I mean, depending on how long it takes and if you have the time, it might not be a bad idea. Hey, Clue. Vodafone internet sounds like cable internet. Yeah, I suppose that's another thing you could potentially do is get some ISP that. Never mind. I probably shouldn't be talking about this. Maybe they're very polite. Okay, so the problem here is we don't even have this ability. I liked whatever I was doing over here. There was some like get ability by level, and if you didn't have it, then we would just be able to add that. Where is it? Level. Here it is. Get level of ability. Character data had this thing. And of course I can't search for it because I didn't open the project correctly. So we'll do it this way. Here it is. All right, if the ability is null. Interesting. If the ability is null, we would add it for you. I think that's a good idea. I also like this get level of ability thing here. I think that's important. I should probably do both of these. Yeah, maybe Smoo has more information about that. I mean, I certainly can't comment on German laws. I know pretty much nothing. Imagine if I was like, finally, time for my PhD in German law to shine. Okay, so we need a get level of ability, public int get level of ability. Same thing, pass in the ability ID, except for this time around, if the ability doesn't exist, so return ability question mark level, otherwise 0. Actually, we could just do it this way. Cool. So let's get level of ability. Now, when you modify the ability, if you don't have it, we just add it. Which maybe this logic shouldn't be here. I'm not sure. I'm going to say if ability equals null, then add it. Abilities dot add. All right, how do we create an ability in the first place? Let's just search for cleanse. What? Where do I do this? Oh, I don't remember where I did this. Oh, here it is. It's just new boulder or new heal. Okay, that's pretty easy. There's no way to go from an ID though to creating it, is there? How did I do this in idle ascendance? Passive ability on new. I just made something with the right ID. Well, that's a passive ability. Oh yeah, we could do this with passive abilities. But then how does that work? What is counterattack? I don't think this is going to work here. I think we need a factory class or something. Oh man. Just catch up on chat. Yeah. Oh man. Okay, yeah, so here's the issue. In idle ascendance at least, passive abilities were really just flags. And in Skeleseller, they may have more of a function, I guess. So I can't just say new passive ability and pass in some ID. I need to instead do new counterattack or new execute or something like that. And that means that somewhere I need a way of linking a class to an ability ID to a new instance of a class. And I'd like to avoid just having a giant switch, ability ID and a whole bunch of case statements here. So is there some way I could do this dynamically? Creating all of these, they don't have any. Oh, actually, wait a second. Passive ability. Do I have any passive abilities that don't inherit from that? Cleanse. Uh-oh. Wait, I didn't mean to even open that. I don't know what just happened. Passive. Ability granting buff, cleanse, counterattack, execute. No, they're all the same. Is there a passive ability that could just be a passive ability? Yeah, there are. There's going to be a bunch of those. Going to be mods on skills. These are class defining passives. Okay. Yeah. I don't know how to do this, so I guess let's look this up. C# construct class from I'm just gonna write from variable and see what shows up. Creating an instance of a class from a string. I mean, this is sort of close. Look at activator.create instance. Creates an instance of the specified type using the constructor that best matches the specified parameters. This sounds like it could work. Related with great examples. Oh, type.getType, fully qualified name, and then create instance. Okay, that is easy. Make generic type. I wonder if there's a like C# construct class from generic type. Because that's more like what I want. And it's still an activator thing. Okay. Yeah. All right. I think we can do this. Okay. Is the code for my new tab page public anywhere? So there are two parts of this. One is when I click new tab, it goes directly to the home page. That's an extension in Chrome called, where is that? New tab redirect. Can I copy the, I don't want to show something I'm not supposed to show. New tab redirect. And I know you might not necessarily want this, but I'm going to link this in the chat. And so there's that. And then the second thing that you're seeing is this home pagerizer. That is its own command. Whoops. So yeah, if anyone watching this wants a site like this on their homepage, I wrote this tool home pagerizer, and you can just add a link to whatever you want. So you might say like Twitch and put a link here and set a Twitch or a shortcut for this. And then down here, you'll just see a page where now when you press T, it'll go to Twitch. I love this sort of thing because it lets you keep all your bookmarks just right there in your face. And I've got shortcuts for all this stuff. So like to go to Skeleseller, I don't even need to click the link. I just press K on my keyboard and I'm there. Stilling, maybe this is like Minority Report where they can predict what it is you're going to want. And they know you're going to want French things. Yeah, I hope you like it, Potril. I've been using something like this for so many years now, and it's been great. Okay, so we gotta go code this. I guess passive ability will have a create based on this. Can you make active abilities this way? Can you? What inherits from active ability? Probably like half the things I coded, right? Taunt, rage, poison, heal over time. Maybe we can make any ability like this. None of them have anything in their constructor. Okay, we're going to try this out. We're going to make a public static base ability. Yeah, create. And this is what I wanted to avoid here. Activator, create instance. So this is from an ability ID. It won't know which constructor to use though. I think, I don't know. I can pass in a T where T colon base ability. Then new object. All right, static members should appear before non-static members. Sure. And now what's the problem here? Remove ID. Yeah, I didn't actually ever get anything from that, huh? Converting null literal or possible null value to non-nullable type. What I'm doing is not going to work anyway, but I would need to manifest which class this corresponds to. Yeah, and they all should correspond to a class. So here we'd say basic attack, maybe like type of basic attack. Cannot convert from system.type. Okay, so then, oh boy. Type. This comes after, oh wait, no, this shouldn't come after. All right, then store that off as well. Type equals type. And then in, so much I need to do here. And then in base ability, when we try constructing this thing, we get the ability data. Ability data equals all ability data.get ID, and then create this. Yeah. Take care, Amy. Hope the sickness does not set in. Converting null literal or possible null value to non-nullable type. So this is potentially null? Because I could have this return... No, I don't know. Minus 60 points from Gryffindor. I want to just ignore this for now. I'm gonna end up breaking quite a lot. And before we get there, yeah, we need this all over the place here. Ooh, what happened there? Oh, I see. So this will be type of heal. Be type of boulder. And then all of these we can do easily. Type of those. And then some of these just need to be imported. Great. So I'm going to try running this. I don't think this is going to work. You're right, Ramy. Such a versatile expression. This might be working. It's just pretty much impossible to tell. Sequence contains no matching element. Yeah, this is what I wanted to fix, and we haven't probably fixed yet. So if this is null, we want to add in a base ability dot create. This is bad. This is really bad. Yeah. Oh man. It might work, but I think it's going to break something down the road because I'm constructing the wrong class. No, I think it broke already. Sequence contains no matching element. This is the same line of code that I'm running into right here. No, wait, no, it's not. It's this one. Get ability. Oh, can this be first or default? Yeah. That's what I meant. Still broken? Get ability. Okay, this should be changed to get level of ability. Because that's all we care about. Get level of ability. Yeah. Int level equals that. Then just type that here. And maybe we put a const int max level equals 5 and put that over here. Okay. I only have one thing on my mind right now, and it's how do I construct these things correctly? So if I click this button, right, it kind of looks like it's working. It looked like maybe the very first one broke. Value cannot be null. Where's that? Abilities component 59. Throw if null. This should just be done here. Ability equals this. Hey, Fatootie. Different kind of ECS. It's not the elastic container system. It's the entity component system. Okay, it's jumping up to 2. I think abilities need to start at level 0. Ability. Oh, or I just do this. Yeah. I keep doing that. You're clicking the wrong thing. All right, nice. You can go beyond level 5, which I need to stop. So if level is greater than or equal to the max level, then just return. Whoops. Well, I guess it should have been disabled to begin with. So that's another cleanup thing we should do eventually. Disable skill buttons if you're at the max level already. That way you can't even click them. Although making them look disabled is probably not a good idea because it'll darken the button. Maybe it's just not a good idea to make them look disabled at all so that it doesn't darken the button. I don't know. Or we have a different style for that. Yeah. For now, this is totally fine. And then if you manage to spend the point, then the number of available points that you have should lower. So we need the adventurer component for that. There we go. Wrap it with chains? What does that mean? I do need to give it a tooltip. Oh, I see. Oh, like actual chains. This is not some coding thing. Show that it's locked. All right, that didn't work. What did I do wrong here? If level is greater than or equal to the max level, then return. But I haven't actually increased it yet. I also need to make sure you have a skill point. Why can't this go to 5? What's going on? I need a breakpoint here. All right, if you don't have enough skill points, we also need to stop that. If there. I don't want this to be there by default though. Let's just start all adventurers with like 90 skill points. Just so that this is not a problem. And then let's debug this. Yeah, to lock it. Yeah. I was being dense at first and missed that. Okay, don't care about that. I care about this here. How did this get hit already? Oh, because it's just updating the label? Oh, what? Whoops. Oh my God. Put this all in the wrong function. What am I doing? What am I doing? All right, I meant to put it in here. We shouldn't just modify the level of this thing by 1. We should do all these checks that we had. So first of all, do you have the number of available skill points? Next, is it already at the max level? And then finally, that's it. Yeah. Now in updating the label, what do we need? We don't care about this. We don't care about this. We just need to know the current level that you have. This doesn't matter. Get the ability data so we can have the display name, the ability ID, the level. Okay, yeah, max level. Okay, let's just put this up at the top here somewhere. Const int max level. What's it complaining about? Public constant. Const field name should begin with an uppercase letter. A field shuffle effect. And public should come before private. Oh boy. I love it. It's so great. All right, now the max level thing that we determined or defined down here, we can change. None of this addresses what I needed to address originally. Oh boy. And then there should be somewhere else that I had defined it. Huh, I'm surprised there isn't. Are we looking good now? I should just close this because it's going to drive me bonkers. Can you rearrange windows over here? Oh, I'll just do that then. Well, that was easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I can't click anymore. Yeah, now the available skill points is not dropping. I gotta fix that. But I'm ignoring the elephant in the room right now, which is, am I constructing these abilities correctly? So update skill button label. We also need like a spend skill point or modify skill points. Where do we do that? Oh, we don't even do that? Did I delete it? Ugh. Oh. So modify available skill points -1. Yeah, private void modify available skill points. Cool. Get the adventurer, get their component plus equal delta, then set the label over here. Yep. We'll make a private void update available skill points label. That's where this is going to go. And we just need to get all of this stuff again. How nice. Yeah, I need to simplify this. And any other place that we do this can call this function as well. There. Let's see if that works. So you start with 90 skill points just for the sake of testing. So every time I click, this number should go down by 1. That is not working. What I mess up? This gets your available skill points. So this looks like it's being set correctly. Oh, I'm just not calling it. There we go. And then we can address the elephant. Good, it's working. Now I don't have a way of using all of these skill points. Oh, and that's broken too, huh? Wait, why is that broken? Oh, because they're all already level 5 and they just happen to show up in 2 places because I don't have more skills. Yeah, that's not really a problem. I mean, if that could ever show up, it would be a bug, but that should never happen. All right, what are we doing for that? Well, let's test that out really quickly. Well, let's set this to 7. And make sure you can't spend more than 7 points, although I'm pretty sure that's working. Good, yeah, that's working. Yeah, and now for the difficult thing. Which is in this. We call create with base ability. So I think the problem here is that none of these abilities will have the right functions on them, and as soon as we enter a battle, they're going to break. I think that's what's going to happen. So let's try that out. If we hire an adventurer and enter an instance, it should just work. Yeah, because they only have heal and boulder right now. So this thing's going to die pretty soon. And then we're going to put a point into counterattack, and I suspect this is going to break everything. How is this working? Okay, I guess C# is smarter than I thought. So it must be constructing the correct type. So if we put a point in execute, well, nothing will ever prove that execute works. Because I guess technically it's only, right, yeah, it needs to be less than 10% life. If we say it's less than 90% life, then that should make me win every single battle. Wow, okay, cool. Best dev question, how is this working? It's a really important question because sometimes things accidentally work. Well, they accidentally work in narrow situations, and then it's good to figure that out. Also, hey, Carlos. Okay, so I'm going to put a point in execute, and we should win this fight because as soon as these guys take 2 hits, they should just die. They only took 1 hit and then died. Why is that? How much damage am I doing? I'm doing 5. Oh, I know what happened. My character has mental swiftness, so every time it uses an ability, it might use 2 abilities. So it must have procced. And that caused Boulder to be used twice, which caused execute to be triggered, which won the fight. Yeah. Yep, that's what's happening. It's just not clear at all because of how fast it all happens. This is so cool. It's coming together. Wow. So how do we fix the one issue that was showing up somewhere? I don't even know where anymore. Maybe it's not a problem. How do I see those issues? Rebuild? I fixed it? How did I fix it though? I don't remember fixing it. No, I didn't fix it. This thing. Yeah. Converting null literal or possible null value to non-nullable type. Is it type is not null here? This returns something that may not exist. What is going on? I don't understand this. Like, shouldn't this just be a question mark here? But it doesn't like that either. Oops. I don't think this is doing it. No, it's not doing it. Yeah, what's causing this warning? I just don't know what the null literal is that we have here. So this is base ability equals this, return ability. Yeah, possible null reference return. So this should just be a question mark, right? And then this is a question mark. But then why is there an error still? Oh, because this is a T question mark? I don't know. But maybe now if we rebuild, it'll go away. I think that's the general issue here, and that I just need to do something else. I don't know. Thought about adding a console for debugging. Show messages like X attacks Y with Z ability for end damage. Might make it easier. Not sure it's worth the effort. I haven't thought about doing that. No. Because I thought if we were to do that, it would be something we'd maybe expose to users. But you're right. It doesn't have to be exposed to users. It could just be something that we do. The problem is then every ability that we make needs to interact with it, which I know you mentioned it might not be worth the effort. So something like basic attack, we would, instead of just dealing damage, we need to know the source of it is basic attack. And here's how much damage it should have dealt, and here's how much it was mitigated. I think we'd probably just need to write tests for the abilities and then set up situations where they get used. I think that's probably what I would do instead, unless players end up wanting that. But I think they'd want them in very narrow situations. I don't know how to even fix this. I don't know what's going on. Oh, wait, no, now it's a different problem. Okay, never mind. We did fix it. How did we fix it? I don't totally know. If you create something with an ability ID, though, this should never fail. And that's the thing. Can I do argument, null exception, throw if null ability, and then not have this return like that? This may not be fine. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Why is it still highlighted? I think it's this. I don't know how to fix that. All right, let's look up this error. Activator.create instance. Yeah, maybe we do that at the end here. Throw new argument null exception. Don't don't see. Don't see what's wrong. CS 8600. I think it has to do with this T here. And if I don't do this, cannot implicitly convert type object to base ability. Yeah, so I need to cast it, but it's technically a T question mark, and that's just not a thing that exists, I guess. Use a constructor overload that has a meaningful error message. Yeah. No ability found for ID. So now there's no way for this to be set to null. Oh, also skill button isn't in the right spot. Let's go fix that really fast. And that's it. It looks like it worked, but I'm pretty sure this is still highlighting it. Yeah, what? Maybe this is just stale at this point? I don't think so, though. I think this is just going to be forever highlighted, and I probably just need to suppress this. Yeah. I think we'll just suppress it. Try doing as T at the end. No, I don't think. I don't really know what's going on here, but I don't think this is something I should probably worry about. We need for an ability data to have a type. And if we can't construct that type, this should definitely be a problem, but I don't guess it's the same cast method. Yeah. I gotta take a break. I'll just put this back to what it was here. And then we put a T here. And then we just suppress this error, or suppress this issue. And if there's a problem, yeah, we just throw if it's null. All right, so quick fix, suppress. There we go. Oh my God, is it still somehow highlighting itself? Because there's also an issue for 8603. So I need to suppress that too. You gotta be kidding me. Does that make it go away? Remove unnecessary suppression. I mean, it's highlighted right here. This is the most bizarre thing. Yeah, I can't make this go away. Huh. All right, I'll just take a break. Yeah. Try it on the parameter. I'll try that next. Let me put this here. Type you're passing in is not nullable. Yeah, I must be misinterpreting this, although it's weird that we can't even suppress it, but still, I'll take my break and I'll come back and take a look. All right, is it jump time? It's jump time. Hey, everybody. All right. Close the game. Hope you had fun. I mean, you can play on the end screen there, but I usually just close it pretty fast. Let me take a look at this. The method is declared as returning object question mark. Implementation throw. Type of int question mark. Oh, I'm passing in something that can be nullable? But this shouldn't be. No, it's just a type. Unless type itself represents that it might not have a type? Maybe. No, I'm not sure. Oh, hey, Raisings, thanks. And hey, Darkstorm. Yeah, I made that back in December when I was returning to streaming, and it's publicly viewable source, but it's technically not open source. Yeah, I don't understand this part, and I don't think this is worth the hassle to try to figure all this out. But yeah, the type that I have here is just a type. And it says type is not null here. But can create instance. Yeah, it just takes in a type though. I don't know. I definitely don't know. Can you rebuild and restart? I've rebuilt. I haven't restarted VS Code. Well, let me close out of all this stuff first. Okay, there. So everything's closed. So I'm going to restart VS Code. It's also cut out of this one. And then I guess while I'm at it, let's close out of this version of Godot. Not that it matters. Don't save. Doesn't matter. What's going on? Why is it still in my bar? Remove from dock. Oh, when I dragged it, it got stuck in the dock? Maybe I kept it there a while ago. All right, yeah, let's reopen VS Code. Base ability. Okay, it looks like it went away. So then that means that this was sufficient? Huh. Yeah, interesting. I had done this, the restart extension host. I guess that wasn't enough. All right, well, if we know that this works, then how about this? Let's copy paste this over and let me see if I can get this to work in a slightly better fashion. So if I just get rid of this thing, why is it complaining now? Possibly because of this. Yeah, that was it. Okay, great. Wow. That was really stupid. I thought I was restarting it the right way, and I just wasn't. So yeah, fine. No wonder I was struggling so much with it, because I had the right answer a long, long time ago. All right, well, this looks much nicer now. Yeah, so here's how this works. We know that actually, now that I think about this, do we ever need to do this? Well, we might change the skill system eventually. Anyway, we know, let's say you've got the warrior. You might have 2 active abilities, slash and let's say sweeping arc. And then each of these might have mods for it. So you might have something like rapid slash and whatever, dire slash or something like that. These are represented by ability IDs. So this is just rapid slash like that, and this might be dire slash. And at some point, we need to convert from an ID into an actual ability. So the thing that does that is this function. And it's easier to do this than it is to have a switch case of literally every single ability. Why don't you return T? Explicit conversion exists, so you're missing a cast. What will this do? Return the type. I think just because this isn't a good idea. We want the generic type here because we might have an active ability or a passive ability. And if we make it return a T, then we won't be able to, well, let me just show you, I guess. Then in something like abilities component where we call this should fail now. Yeah, I would expect it to, because it just knows that it's a type. doesn't. Yeah, hey Disc105. All right, I don't actually understand why this isn't breaking it. It's converted to the actual type during runtime. Okay, I see. So it doesn't know here. Oh, T inherits from base ability. Okay, got it. Yes, this makes sense. And I actually wait a second. No, this wouldn't have made a difference, right? Yeah, I don't think this would have made a difference because my type T always inherits from base ability anyway. It makes it in the boxing and unboxing behavior of C#. Okay, well, I guess what we could have done here is just done this. Do we even need that cast there? We do need the cast. Okay, fine. But then we don't need this. There we go. No longer boxes the value inside of base ability. Okay, got you. Yeah. All right, I'll give you a point for that. I'm gonna finally be able to move on from this. Yeah, that took a long time, although I got stuck on something that was pretty minor there, which was the suppressing a warning. So now we have a way of clicking to add points. We need a way of right-clicking to remove points. And as far as I know, there's no right-click on a Godot button. Yeah, we just have pressed. But does pressed take in an event and tell you, or do I need to do unhandled input, or do I need to extend from this? So Godot, right-click button, handler. Different button functions. All right, I want to see, do people say use input event for this? Need to change button mask so it registers right-click? Oh, you could just set it on the button? Really? Skill button. Mask. Oh, wow, look at that. But do they all get registered as the same thing? Because now I can presumably right-click to add points. I want to right-click to remove points. It might take in an event. I don't actually know if press does. No, it can't. Because maybe it could. Yeah, maybe this takes in an input event or something, and I just... Action does not take an argument. Oh, yeah, press is just an action. It's also on the event.button index. But I don't know if pressed gets an event. That's the part I was wondering about. Godot button pressed event. Maybe it does exist. I want to see the no, this isn't here. Button signal via script. Yeah, but this gets bound. Yeah, this just gets bound with no arguments. Call the event when the user clicks. Press signal. Pressed. Yeah, I don't think there is something for this. Yeah, I think I need to do something along these lines. GUI input should just be when we click this thing. But this says that it should take in right click. I don't know if we'll need to keep that. All right, let's just go change this skill button dot what GUI input. C# Godot GUI input. I had this page open already. I guess I could just change the I could change skill button itself to have this, and then just emit signals for whether or not you left clicked or right clicked. Yeah, that would work. Okay, that's probably the easiest thing. Let's just do that. Okay, so override GUI input event. Lots of little code style differences here. Pressed equals. This doesn't even check to see if it was pressed. But yeah, I guess we have the button index here. Button list doesn't exist in the current scope. This wouldn't matter. Why does it say the button list doesn't exist? I wonder where that's supposed to come from. Oh, it's probably a Godot 3 thing, and they probably changed this to like mouse button dot left or something like that. Yeah. And then we probably don't need the int here. Yep, and then just put this down here. If it's right, do something. Okay, let's try that out. Change parameter to event in order to match that. Yeah, I think this is supposed to be at event. Cool. Oh, button left is just a constant. I wonder if it's the same thing as this. I think it was replaced with mouse button on left. I know Godot 3 did something different for that. Let's try this out. So now when you left click, it should just print out left, and when you right click, it should print out right. And then I'll connect signals to the skill tree. So let's try that. So it says left, oh, and also when I release, and then yeah, right. And then did I need the mask there? What if I get rid of that? Oh, mouse button left, I see. I guess it doesn't really matter which one of these I use if they both refer to the same thing. Yeah, I don't have that variable either. Nor do I have an import for it that's apparent. All right, so let's go back over to here, higher, and right click. Yep. Yeah, cool. So I didn't need to modify the mask. Okay, so now we just need to check if it is pressed and pressed. Got it. Cool. Then I'll just happen once. Then we add in two signals. Let's go get the signals. This is going to be... Actually, we technically didn't even need a left click thing out of here because there's just the pressed anyway, the pressed event. Oh, this will probably be... Will this be problematic because we're not going to have the proper... Oh my God. I didn't mean to do that. There. Like when you press a button, it has a certain style to it. And when you right click a button, it doesn't have any indication that you've pressed it. So yeah, maybe we should have it respond to right click for that reason. Maybe that'll work. Oh yeah, that does work. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's do that then. Nice, I like this. All right, so this is gonna be on left click, or maybe left click pressed, and then right click pressed. Event should not follow property. Separate with this, remove the unused event. Yeah, so this is just gonna call it now. Good. Cool. Did you encounter any annoying C# things with Godot, like bugs or something that doesn't work but should? Yes. The biggest one, and this is super annoying, is that it keeps making a CS project and a solution file every once in a while, and then by making it, it then causes a bunch of errors. I don't know what's doing that. Like I haven't found a reliable way to reproduce that. But yeah, every once in a while, I just see all of a sudden there's a CS project and a solution file. So that's the biggest problem I have. What else have I encountered? I think that's all I can think of for right now. Yeah, I think that's about it. But it's fewer annoyances than I had when using GD script, at least with VS Code. I feel like the GD script and VS Code combination, and I was just using this like 2 months ago or a month ago or something, was even more frustrating and for a lot more reasons. So I'm much happier to be using C#. I just wish this problem wasn't an issue. Okay, so now in skill tree, instead of pressed, we have left click pressed, and that's going to be, actually, these can both just point to the same function. In fact, do I ever really care about separating them that much? In this case, no, not really. We could just say pressed and have this invoke with which mouse button. So maybe we'll just make it one clicked event and have it take in an int mouse button. Okay. So then these are both clicked. Clicked, and then mouse button dot left and right. Neat. So now we just need one method here. On skill clicked, skill button. This also takes in the mouse button button, or I should probably call it mouse button. And then pass that over to there. And this will take in the mouse button, mouse button. And then, right, we're going to want to do something different based on whether you're adding a point or removing a point. Almost to where I might have just wanted to make separate functions. Yeah, fine. All right, I take that back. Let them do this. Well, at least we can just Command Z all of that stuff. Cool. So this is not on skill clicked. This is going to be renamed to on skill left clicked, I guess, and on skill right clicked. All right, same general need for something over here. Cool, cool. And now we just need to do this. Okay, so it doesn't matter how many available points you have. It does matter if you are less than or equal to level 0. And then we're going to modify it by subtracting a point here, adding a point to here. Yep. Cool. Also the ready stuff with get node. Oh yeah, I guess that's another problem. I guess there are, okay, now I'm remembering other problems that I have with C#. No on ready annotation. That's annoying. And yeah, not being able to just construct a class. It's like you have to instantiate it and then init it, but you have to keep add child and ready in mind with your init function that you have. But yeah, nothing too crazy there at least. I skip signals and just go with built-in with C# events. I ended up using this somewhere else for some reason. I think using a signal here would be fine. And I think we have a signal somewhere. Yeah, this. And at some point I just stopped. I should probably consider that some more. Anyway, let's test this out. Do you work on Godot? Tensor Runner? Okay, so we put a point in here, we remove a point. Cool. So if we're full up on points, we can't add another one until we subtract one. Okay, this does something interesting though, which I am now just realizing. If you have a skill of level 0, we should probably remove the skill from you. Yeah, because if we don't do that, then you'll potentially still have some value from the skill. Just a Godot user trying to find best practices, yeah. Yeah, I'm using some C# delegates because this, for example, this class doesn't have anything in Godot here. Well, it does use Godot, and that's for what exactly? What is that for? Oh, because we can take in a node. Yeah. I think we weren't using signals because we can't use them for something like this. This, when the health changes here, this isn't a component, or this isn't a node in the scene tree. I think that's where we ran into a problem. Okay, yeah, so abilities component needs to then remove your ability when you set it to level 0. So if ability is equal to null, then create it. But this is assuming that delta is positive. Yeah. And then if ability is not equal to null and delta is greater than 0. So that's where we do this. And if ability is not equal to null and delta is less than 0, then we need to delete the ability. Abilities.remove ability. All right, how do we test that? So how about this? Let's set execute to always kill the enemy, or like almost always kill the enemy. We'll set this to 0.9. So now you're guaranteed to win every fight if you have execute. So let's go try this out. So we hire an adventurer, we give them 1 point of execute, and now when we go into an instance, they should win. Yep. But now we remove execute and make them go into an instance, and now they should not win the fight. Good. Yeah. All right, good, good, good. Now let's put a point in counterattack and create the instance. And now we should see a number 20 over here every once in a while, because the way the counterattack works is it just doubles the incoming damage. But it's a 20% chance right now. If I get rid of counterattack, we should never see a 20 over here. We should never see a 20 anywhere, actually. Only the numbers 5, 10, and 0.5. Neat. Yeah, hey, Minkler. It's all working. I think that was the whole task. Buttons need to be skill buttons. Create the skill buttons on the fly. That I'm not going to do, because now we only have one delegate. When you click the button, differentiate between left click and right click. Yeah, so that's done, and this should be canceled. Update, I just decided to reuse the buttons so the handlers only ever get added in ready. And now I guess we can mark that as done. All right, let's go commit. The skill button is now a button. Actually, this should be a completely untracked file, yeah. Skill tree now uses those buttons. That looks good. Ability data takes in a type. This is the type of the class to make. I wonder if there's a better way I could do this. General timeline update. The general timeline is what I just posted in Discord recently. So in 9 days, it'll be release checkpoint number 1. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a fully playable game, but I think it'll be enough to get some feedback. So you'll have the town view that you have here. You'll have the ability to get into battles. If you win that fight, it'll put items into your town. You'll go restock. You'll sell the items, just like how you expect the game to work. And I'll make some basic goal. Maybe get a certain amount of money or beat a certain enemy. And yeah, players can say, is this on the right track? That's the general thing we'll be looking for. So there's going to be a lot that's not super clear and a lot that needs polish. But we'll see. Then after that, the next week, I'll be on vacation for quite some time. And then when I get back, we'll start working toward checkpoint number 2. Checkpoint number 2 wouldn't be for another probably couple months. And for that one, we'll have much more of a game. My original plan was July or August. And that's where it'd pretty much just be more content. I'm very happy with the progress of how everything's been going. I think we've made great strides on the game. And especially when you think about that none of this code existed, 11 stream days ago. It's come a long way. Okay, so now we manifest the type. This makes me wonder, what's the point of even having ability data? We need IDs. Yeah, okay. I could still see a need for this. Yeah. Okay. Wait. What if all we did is we associated it with the we associate an ID with a class, and we could get the type of that class dynamically and then store all this information there. That might be better. I'm gonna just write this in a cleanup thing. This is something that would probably happen tomorrow. Actually consider just having a dictionary of ability ID to ability and then store any information in the ability directly. I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's worth doing anything about this though. What we have will work and it just may not be the best. Also, I think typically, if you consider the worst of any solution and the best of any solution, and you assign numbers to them, like if the worst is 0 and the best is 100, then this thing that I just mentioned, we might be at like an 85, which is not even really worth doing anything about. So it doesn't really matter. If you were at a 0 out of 100, that's a pretty stark difference. So we have a way of creating an ability from an ID. That's really important. We have a way of getting an ability, getting the level of an ability, modifying an ability level. This will actually add or remove the ability. And I'm just not sure that I like having this here. Will anything in the game do this that isn't the skill tree? Maybe an instance when it creates an enemy might start modifying levels of abilities, in which case having this here could be good. Okay, let's keep this here then. This we just shouldn't really change. The problem is if we set this to 0 by default, there's no way to increase this. I'm just going to start this at 10 for now. Yeah, otherwise we're going to run into some issues. This shouldn't be checked in at all. This looks pretty good. Very, very basic class, just stores an ability ID and has a way of differentiating left click and right click. And then what do we change in here? Looks like quite a lot. Modify available skill points, update available skill points label, update skill button label, get selected adventurer, get skill buttons. Yeah, okay. I think this is looking good. So I'll allow for adding and removing skill points. Also, something I didn't really touch on now, but that I talked about a little while ago, is that in the original game, there was no respecializing. And so now, instead of you having to pay money or something, you can just right-click an ability. Oh, wait, what? That shouldn't have happened. Whoops. Whoops. Yeah, I meant to write an if statement here, and the ability level is exactly 1. That's when we want to remove the ability. This is a mess. This is definitely a mess. Yeah, let's simplify this code. So if ability is null and all right, so there's one thing we got to do here. If ability is null and delta is less than 0, then throw in new invalid. What's this thing supposed to be called? Illegal, invalid operation exception. Invalid operation exception. Yeah, there's that. Now, if the ability is null, otherwise, and we know this is positive, so create the ability and set its level to 0 to begin with, so that down here, we could just always add the level. And then if the level is 0, then we remove it. Yeah. All right, let's take a look and see if this makes sense. So if you don't have the ability and you're trying to decrease its level, that's just not possible. I don't know what would even ever try to do this, but sure, not possible. If you don't have the ability and you're not trying to decrease the level, then create the ability and set it to 0 so that we then increase it so that it's 1. This can also handle decreasing it, and if decreasing it should delete the ability, to delete it. All right, let's go try that out. And I might need to amend the last commit because that should have been part of the last one. So hire an adventurer, click this a few times, right click once, click another few times. Yeah, now we should not be counterattacking. Yep, we can speed this up. Yeah, as long as there are no 20s, that's all I was looking for. And now we add this and it should be counterattacking. Yep. Cool. All right, any errors that show up? Nope. Let's go amend that commit. Check this out really fast. Yep. And amend. There we go. Okay. Make the abilities functional. Maybe seed the skill tree with some abilities like this stuff. Yeah, let's do the bare minimum right now to make this functional. So the way counterattack works is it adds a counterattack buff and it has a source. We want to there are two things to keep in mind here. One is that increasing the level should be more powerful something. And in this case, it's, well, let's say more power. In this case, it's probably like a higher chance to counter. But then the second thing to consider is, what if you increase the level while you're in battle? And I don't think it should take effect immediately. So something needs to capture what these levels were at the beginning of the fight. And it could be these buffs that do it. The problem is each skill gets used in the middle of battle. I think this is going to be a problem. Won't be an issue for class defining passives, but it would be for regular passives. So something needs to save off the level of what abilities you had. And right now, the only place we store that is an abilities component. We would need to duplicate this entire component at the beginning of the battle and then give that to the battlers. Okay, that's reasonable. Where do we do that? Create battlers. Maybe we already do this? Health and battle stats. Oh, okay. We get your abilities component and just take the reference to abilities directly. I want to like deep clone this thing. Yeah, we need to deep clone it. Actually, all that's really needed is... No, yeah, we need to clone this. I wonder how we would do that. Does C# have a built-in like copy? Copy is a string method. It doesn't have a clone by default, right? No, I don't think so. Does Java? I don't know where I'm getting this from. Yeah, I don't think this exists. So how do you write a generic clone function? Public base ability. Yeah, I wouldn't know how to construct another one of these. Oh, that's how. But this is creating it with the wrong type. we need to get the abilities type, which I guess we could do like this. Oh no, it would already know though, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think this would work. Clone adventurer and add a new instance. The thing is, I think all we really need to clone are the things that the battle impacts. So the battle definitely impacts your health. The battle impacts your stats, maybe. I don't actually totally know for sure if it's going to impact your stats, but other things might impact your stats. And then your abilities for sure. Or vice versa, I guess. I guess it's either the battle impacts the adventurer or the adventurer impacts the battle. And in this case, it's abilities can be raised through the tree. And that could modify the outcome of a battle. This would be really, really challenging to do if you allowed this, and no one's arguing for this, but if you allowed this and you had something like a counterattack, you would just put 1 point into it and then immediately try to remove it. And then you would gain the ability to counterattack on the fly. It would be really, really weird. So this lets us clone an ability, which now means that we can make a clone of an abilities component. We had this for health component. Excuse me. There's this apparently. There's this member-wise clone. Shallow copy. And it would need to be a deep copy. And at this point, I think the clone that I wrote should actually be fine. But thank you, yo. I will probably go copy this. All right, so public, excuse me, abilities component clone. So we make a, what's going on here? Oh, I typed it wrong. So we make a new abilities component, which, yeah, just has that. Abilities component AC equals new, return AC, and then give it the same, no arguments, required parameter abilities. Oh, it does take in abilities? Okay, that's fine. All right, so what is this? A collection base ability cloned abilities equals new. Make this with the cloned ones. And now we need to just go through and clone. Easy peasy. All right. Then in the battle, let's also clone those abilities. Oh, oh, darn it. We don't need a component. We just need the abilities. Fine. So we'll say get cloned abilities. And then just return, instead of new, just return that. Yeah. So that in the instance, we can get cloned. Can't type. Is that good? Yeah, I think that's good. How do we test this? Oh, wait a second. Wait, if I didn't do this, couldn't I have modified a battle as it's going on? Oh, I could have, but they're all class passives and only work in the middle of a battle. We could change this. Okay, check this out. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna change the amount of damage here. So int damage equals 5. And let's set this there. And then if you have, so let's get level of abilities component AC equals get. All right, if you have damage plus equal get level of ability ID dot counterattack. Okay, so every point you put in counterattack will increase the damage of boulder, which makes no sense, but it's just for testing right now. All right, so we hire an adventurer, we create an instance, it does 5 damage, we put points in a counterattack, yeah, and it increases in the middle of the battle. But now we go and clone the abilities, And now that should no longer be the case. It should just capture the value at the beginning. So it should do 5. Yep. And now we put points on the counterattack. And it still does 5. But after this battle's done, we create a new one and it should start doing 10 damage. Perfect. I'm confused. Don't you just want a battler clone? So unfortunately, the way that we made this is battler is its own class with some properties on it. And so we can't just... Oh, wait a second. We do add an abilities component here. Okay, we could have written a clone for that. But cloning the battler... I guess adventurer might have a bunch of components that the battler doesn't need, which might then cause another system to pick up the battler. We can change how this works eventually, but for now I don't think it makes a big difference. All right, so that's working, and we just kind of proved that this can work too. Where is it? Boulder. This is get level of ability, and we get the component and get it from that. So it might be nice to have a function that combines both of these things. There's get level of ability, which is going to be the most commonly called thing. We can make a public static int get level of ability for entity and take in the entity and the ability and just call that. Static member should appear before the other ones. Sure. And then this could be called to save a line of code over here. Yeah, this could just be abilities component dot get for entity. There. And this is fine, except for this is slightly less performant because then every single time we need to call this, we need to fetch the component first. But it shouldn't matter. I think we shouldn't worry about that at first. Just reminded me of the iClonable interface. Is it just something that exposes a clone that has the same type? iClonable. Yeah, clone. Creates a new object that's a copy of the current one. I should definitely do that. Okay, let's write that down and clean up. Use iClonable for any class where I added a clone function. Note that the abilities component doesn't exactly clone itself because creating a battler takes in a collection of abilities, but that could be changed. All right, how do we make this functional? We got to go. We got to make basic attack to something, I guess. Or we got to add in a boulder ability. How about that? Yeah, let's just add in some general boulder ability. All right, so ability ID. We'll put in a new one here. We'll just call it like boulder power. It's gonna be the dumbest ability ever. Oh, now I'm realizing where we have an issue. All right, boulder power needs to point to passive ability. Okay, this is a really good thing I'm doing this. Yeah, so I'm going to add in boulder power. This is going to take, I guess I'll just call this like debug boulder power. And it'll take in type of passive ability. This should work. Then in the, how do we do this? We go over to here. Boulder now takes in boulder power. And then in the actual class itself, we get that. Okay, this should work. I think. Should do exactly what it just did, but it should be themed as the right ability. Yeah, this debug boulder power. Okay, so if we create an instance doing 5 damage, I click this once, and it breaks because it can't create a passive ability, I guess. Cannot dynamically create an instance of, oh, is it abstract? Cannot create an abstract class. Well, it's not abstract any longer. Goodbye. Yeah, it can't be abstract. That made sense originally, but just not anymore. Oh, you still can't click it. What? Now what? No parameterless constructor defined. Oh, because it takes an ability ID? Oh, drat. Keeping the PRs for Friday? No, that wasn't necessarily the point. Yeah, I just hadn't seen these before I started the stream. I'll try to do these this afternoon. It's 10:30. Yeah, I'll try to do these this afternoon, I think. Okay, here's how this could work. We could do something here. Maybe you can't even do this. Can we do like if T equals passive ability? Is this a valid call? No, it isn't. Passive ability is a type. Can we say if type of T equals or T equals type of passive ability? C# compare generic to specific. Oh, T is. Okay, thank you. Oh, nice APX. Did you get your result back already or no? I appreciate that, Tensei. T is a type, which is not valid in the current context. Wait, you really can't do this? gd.print hello? C# compare generic against specific type. Check if generic is specific type. What we could do is we could just create a new function that has T colon passive ability. You can inspect the type. Oh, type of T. Oh. There. Okay. Oh, you're saying, I see what you're saying. You're saying do this if T is passive ability PA. No, that still doesn't work. Yeah, well, anyway, this will hopefully work. All right, then in this case, we want to say return new passive ability ID. Cannot implicitly convert passive ability to T. That's true. So this would now need to be base ability and would need to get boxed again. Yeah. Late August. What? Oh, you're talking about the results for the whole class? All right, well, good luck on your final exam. I think this will work. Let's try it at least. I'm not maybe super happy with it. No, we still can't put points in this. What is going on? Cannot dynamically create an instance. No parameterless constructor. Oh, so this if statement is failing. That's too bad. Let's put a breakpoint here. I gotta take a break pretty soon. Yeah. Don't care about that. No, whoops, what am I doing? That doesn't, it's not, I didn't click the right button. I meant to click this button. There we go. All right, so what is type of T? Base ability, what? Oh, whoops. Oh, yeah, whoops. Yeah, this was just supposed to be here. Ability data dot type is passive ability. PA. Or type of. Okay, that's what I meant to do. Yeah, that's what I meant to do. I think that should work now. I'm in the UK, we do 3 modules for the first semester, which is half the year. The exams for them are in January and the results are given in April. Wait, so you are just saying it's for one exam? You don't get the results for months? That seems strange. Hey, it's working now. Okay, so we should do 8 damage, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And if I click this button, it shouldn't modify the currently running battle. But in the next battle, let's increase the speed a little bit. In the next battle, we should do 10 damage. Yeah. Okay, that fixes it. Yeah, cracking the sidewalk. I'm aware that that required a parameterless constructor, but the problem is that passive abilities, I don't want to make a class for all of them. And really, most of them are just flags. Like, all we really care about for most passive abilities is what level are they? And in that case, there's no point adding like a boulder power passive ability and then have it inherit from passive ability. And then this can be parameterless, but passive ability, you need to know what its ID is. So that's the issue I came up with here. A board has to ratify the marks. I don't know why that would take so long. What do they even do? Like, shouldn't, I don't know. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, so now we have the unfortunate scenario where this can't be a T anymore because passive ability might not inherit from T. It's not a big deal. Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think it's worth thinking about. We've all complained about it and they never give a good answer. Yeah, whenever they can't give a good answer, it usually means there's a reason they're not allowed to share or that sounds bad. It could just be gross inefficiency, by the way, which is the least offensive bad reason. But it could also be something maybe a little bit worse. Like, well, we promised money to this third party and now we got to get something out of it. Cast passive ability back to base. Oh, you're saying I could... Wait, would I even be able to do this? T new ability? No, can't convert type. Right, because there's no guarantee. Wait. No, that would be a guarantee. Hang on, let me think about this. T inherits from passive or base ability. Passive ability inherits from base ability. But the T that was passed in might have been a more concrete class. Yeah. No, I don't think we can do this. Okay, anyway, this is fine. We're good here. Why did I even do this? Oh yeah, to make abilities functional. Yeah, so this proves that they can be functional. I'm not going to go make every single ability in the game now, but we do have, where is this? We do have this. So by getting the boulder power ability, it increases the damage you do with boulder. And we can do the same sort of thing from heal. Like we could say that you're healing 0.5 plus the level of boulder power times 5 or something like that. This is weird because it's heal and it's taking from boulder power, but it should still work. And then that's it. Then I got to take a break for sure. So yeah, got to stop blathering on. All right, so hire adventurer, go put a point into boulder power, a couple points in that. So now I should heal for like 10.5, yeah. Which I think will still make me lose the battle. Really hard to tell with all these floating numbers. I guess there's a chance I win, but if I up it another couple points, I might have a better chance of winning. Yeah, because now I heal half of the damage they do. Ah, very cool. Very, very cool. Yep, nice. My adventurer wins with about half life left. Yeah. Great. So where I left off is we got to check that in. I can't forget that. Where I left off, check in what I did with making abilities have a function. All right, just get rid of that for now. I gotta go take a break, and then I'm gonna switch into mentoring mode. So I'll be back in a few minutes, and then we'll start prepping for mentoring, which should happen in 21 minutes. Be right back. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Mr. Ray Ray, I saw you jump slightly down. Close the game. All right, we're gonna transition into mentoring time. Yeah, we have plenty of time. So let me finish what I was gonna do, because right now it's 10:43. I think at probably like 10:50 we could probably transition anyway. So let's check in what I've done so far. So boulder has a way of increasing the damage. That's good. We added boulder power. Yeah. Oh, and then the cloning abilities thing. Well, I guess that's technically part of this. Yeah, sure. Get level of ability for entity, get cloned abilities. This all looks good. Yeah. Nice. So allow for functional abilities. Added the boulder power ability, which increases the damage dealt by boulder. This is just meant to be an example. And I also made it so that abilities are cloned upon entering battle. That way the skill tree doesn't affect ongoing battles. Yeah. All right, push that. Done with that. Done with these. So the only thing we have left to do, tooltips, and then the cleanup stuff doesn't need to happen on stream necessarily. So the plan for this afternoon is going to be review PRs, and then get tooltips working in the skill tree. And then I guess we could do cleanup. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I recorded a new video yesterday. Really dragged my feet on that. Got your offer letter for your first dev job. Congratulations. That's amazing. And definitely worth celebrating, especially in this job climate. Let me add another video for rapid prototyping. I haven't actually released this video yet. So even if you have this URL, it's not going to do anything. Watch Adam's YouTube video on rapid prototyping. Is that the right URL? Yeah. Okay, let's pivot into mentoring. Just did a technical interview yourself. I hope it went well. Mentoring stream prep. Okay, so first thing is to read 3D Extended's document. Let's go take a look through this. So for those who don't know, I've done several mentoring sessions now with each of the mentees, and we've done, actually, I guess 4 for each of them. And so this is the first session number 5. And I wanted to aim for about somewhere like 6 to 9 mentoring sessions. So we're kind of getting toward the end of the series for the current set of mentees. And what I do every session is I read through the prior one and just kind of catch up on the context of what was going on. Are the others on YouTube? Yeah, everything is on a separate channel that I made. Well, okay, let me say this. If you really want to go through the effort, actually, never mind. I'm not going to, no, never mind. Just, yeah, watch however is most convenient for you. If you find this spreadsheet, every link is a link to the individual mentoring session. And I think I just called the channel Adam Mentors. Yeah, this one. So I just throw these videos online. I don't do any real editing for them. I don't put an intro or anything. The thumbnails are all pretty much the exact same. But yeah, I think it's because there's not a ton of demand for watching these after they've happened. So I'm going to look through this session and we're going to see where do I still have kind of follow-ups or questions. So lots of stress, needs a holiday. Passed the exam. Manager was happy. We're now the friends. Booked a massage. Yeah, I'm curious about some of these things. Did you like the massage? I think Peter said that it was the first massage that he would ever get, or like professional massage. Booked an expensive holiday. Yeah, did the holiday happen? Celebrations. Did the holiday happen? I don't totally remember the timing. Pay raise hasn't happened yet. It'll be in 6 weeks. Okay, so presumably it's been 6 weeks. Almost exactly, I think. So maybe the pay raise has gone into effect. All right. How do you feel about getting not perfect results? We were going to take the test. One failed. One still has to take it. Oh, yeah. How did your other colleague do who took the exam that you took? Yeah. They had to wait a year for the pay increase. How do they feel? They seem relaxed. Yeah. Four hours. Could only rate what was shown in the AC. Yep. Feedback was fair. Cool. Then when it came from the parent company, turns out they were misinformed. My question helped. Interesting feedback, speech, nervousness. Take the course. When was this planned, I wonder? You mentioned nervousness during the AC exam and how you would be taking a presentation skills course. When is that scheduled for? Nailed it and was able to work with the dev lead pretty well. Awesome. Yeah. Wow. Good to hear good news about this stuff. Because I think a lot of people are stuck in this job purgatory where they can't find a position and they're not totally sure what to do. And maybe they don't have a position or they're just not happy with their current one. And I think that's a pretty rough situation to be in. All right, what about the feedback on learning and empowering the customer? Wasn't as actionable. They just marked that he didn't show it as much. Okay. Could ask them. Yep. I remember talking about this. Any feedback on empowering the customer? Hinted at him not having as much experience. Next piece of feedback is below. Balanced employee and company. Oh yeah, being very employee focused. Said leaders should be capable of being the hard leader and focusing on customer from time to time. Be wary of this. Do you see examples of people prioritizing customers? Yeah, seem to the extreme. Keep an eye on people who have a healthy mix. Yeah, how has your how's your mindset changed since you've become a leader here with respect to prioritizing the customer over employees? You said that some people have a healthy mix. Have you had an opportunity to, I guess, embody this yourself? Yeah. Really helpful seeing me go through the notes. Yeah. I mean, I'm just, I think what's really helpful is that these notes exist because I think if they didn't, I need to go watch a video and that would take me much longer. So I think this usually takes me something like 5 to 8 minutes or so. All right, a lot of stress has been lifted. What stress remains? Stress of the new role. Yeah, how are you settling into the new role? I think it's one of the biggest questions. How are you settling into the new role? Is there less or different stress? Now, as a written list of 21 expectations, the broad mix, some are basic, employees focused on pay, processes twice a year. Got it. Were there any expectations that surprised you? Some people want completely different roles. Time management is a strong suit. It's more time commitment than he thought. Yeah. You mentioned that there was a lot of feedback from your directs and that not all of it would be easy stuff. Long-term projects about 25% of the time. How the meeting goes, CEO wasn't prepared. Wasn't the outcome he would have liked, something they can work on. Meeting in 2 weeks. How did the next meeting go, I suppose? How did the next meeting, the CEO, go about the long-term project? Doesn't settle, we're going to be CEO, yep. Responsible for recruiting people, scheduled recruiting, the hopes of finding someone to take on the project. Did you find someone to take on the project? New manager, eye-opening, saw the same process on the other side. His colleagues will help with the recruiting steps. The lead, he'll shadow. Yeah, and then I guess how has the recruiting process gone? Okay. A plan for how you'll take your holiday with respect to work. Yeah, so I think this happened. I don't fully recall the timing on this, but we're about to talk to Peter, so it'll all be clear soon enough. I feel confident in what you're doing. He said does, well connected. How to connect with new people. Oh yeah, there's another thing I want to ask about. So what have you decided slash thought about reconnecting with friends? So we mentioned a few things about this, and again, people can just kind of read this off the screen like I can, but Peter had mentioned wanting to connect with other people, not having time. Peter generally is doing quite a lot. And I said, why not try to focus on some subset of the people that you care about, or try to lump them in with other activities you're doing like sports. Yeah, I wonder how that has gone. Networking is important, but not too high up. Yep, 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 yep. Parent company, depends on what relationship you want. Okay, mostly friends he wants to stay in touch with. Yeah. Okay, did first recruiting meetings. Yep. Want to watch Netflix after so much study. Oh yeah, how is the general? Where is it? Where did I ask about stress? Yeah, this stuff. And do you feel that what you're doing is sustainable from an energy perspective? Well, energy and mentality. Yeah. How to break that, be okay with dropping things. Okay, I don't know if any of these. Wait a second, what? I had some of these questions from last time, I guess. Okay, well, I'm going to copy these for the current time. Yeah, we are right on time for this stuff. All right. Yeah. Yeah, cool. So let's go to finish the rest of this prep. So switch scenes, start virtual camera, studio mode, go to mentoring. Cool. Waiting on Discord, ready if you are. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll just set up over here and then things should be good. This part always takes a little bit of time. Unfortunately, and I've mentioned this before, so everyone who's seen these sessions has already heard me say this, but OBS doesn't remember all of the windows and there's no like find by title. So every time I do this, I just need to like match all of the same windows again. And it just takes time. Okay, open Yada. Yep. Cool. Still just kind of positioning windows over here. Why is this huh, something's different. It's not the right width this time. There we go. Hopefully this is all going to look fine. Have you considered doing mock-up interviews with viewers on Discord? You mean interviews where I'm like, hey, here's a coding question? I don't think I generally enjoy that. So if I did it, it'd probably be like a paid service, and I'm not doing any paid stuff right now, really. So yeah, I know there's some value in that. I just don't think I'll probably pursue it. All right, Chrome for Google Docs over here. Yep, yep, yep. Discord on left monitor, so I don't leak the conversation. That's really important because I've done that in the past. And then read the document. So I think all we have to do now is change the name of the stream. Yeah. All right, this is Peter, session number 5. I think that's the most intimidating thing when landing a job. I think big tech cares a lot more about that than smaller tech companies. All right, and let's remove Godot engine, and C#. Try to keep everything reflecting what I'm currently doing. And then this is the last thing and we can start. So today is Wednesday. Mentoring Peter. This is their 5th session. Yep, cool. Okay, I am going to call Peter up and we will get started with this. Let me switch scenes over to here. Okay, so everything should be showing. Chat is up. Yeah, I think we're good. And again, let me know if audio is bad at all and I can try to correct that. I am calling Peter right now. Hello, hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me
Hi.
okay and see me okay?
Yeah,
Okay, cool. Yeah. So welcome into session number 5. How's it going?
great, actually.
Yeah.
We have a long weekend ahead of us in Germany, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. What do you have planned for that weekend?
Nothing special. Seeing family, friends, taking a chill weekend. Has been a lot of stress in the last few days, weeks, and yeah, I'm looking forward to a few days off. Yeah.
Okay, well, good. And I hope you enjoy it. I'm looking forward to digging into what that stress is and finding out how things are
Yeah.
going. So yeah, why don't we kick things off here? I see you
Yeah.
got.
So Uh, as last time I've prepared some topics, I tried to cluster them into the 4 blocks I had last time, and I would like to start with the personal stuff.
Sure.
So actually, I had 1 week vacation. I went sailing on the North Sea, north from Germany, and yeah, it was an actual nice trip. We did about 120 nautical miles and yeah, met a lot of cool people. Planned a new vacation for later this year, fall, around fall this year, and yeah, I had some good relaxing time off, but it was not a relaxing holiday. It was a lot of vacation stress, I guess.
Okay,
Yeah,
wait. Back up. First, you said you planned another vacation for fall. Is it another sailing trip?
yeah, yes,
Okay, and so
with the same crew. Yeah.
yeah, and that was the other thing I wanted to ask about. You said you met a lot of people. Were they all on the same boat with you? And
Yeah, right.
okay, yeah.
So it's an basically I know the skipper, the captain of the ship, and he collects a bunch of people across Germany and makes sailing trips. And yeah, so there were new people I met, and with them I planned a new sailing trip in the fall. Yeah.
So I want to ask you something here that's only semi-related to any of what we normally talk about. When people meet up, I guess are they mostly from Germany? That
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, what do people tend to talk about when you're meeting a stranger in Germany?
A bunch of stuff. So there were a lot of talks about basically working and their experiences. We had some similarities. Basically, we worked both for the public sector in Germany,
Mhm.
which was kind of fun to find out that they had the same customers basically
Hmm.
as we do. So yeah, first few days we were talking about work, and then a lot of private stuff. Basically, where they come from, what they do for fun, and their experiences in past years and holidays, and yeah.
Okay, cool. The reason I ask about this is because I have some friends who moved from where I live to Spain, and they said that one of the biggest differences is that people don't just start talking about work when you first meet them. It's a very common question where I live to say, "Oh, where do you work? What do you do for a living?" Those are ways that
Mhm.
you would get to know people around the same age. And they said in Spain, it's not that. People don't talk about work outside of work. I didn't know if Germany was like that.
I don't know if it's typical for Germany, but I think the crew had the same vibe,
Yeah.
and hence it was yeah, a straight topic to start on. Yeah.
Okay. But so it sounds like you picked up another hobby, sailing now, and no.
I guess a few years back I started sailing, but this is my vacation hobby basically. I like to sail, but it's nothing I do for a weekend, but
Yeah,
instead take a week off and go sailing. Yeah.
I see. And you mentioned that the trip was relaxing, it was fun, it was nice, but your brain wasn't relaxing and fun and nice during that time. Is that?
Yeah, so basically, sailing is a lot of work. If you go sailing in the open sea, there are some areas where you can sail and relax in the sun, but I chose a trip where you had to do actual work on the ship,
Hmm.
and it was exhausting from a body's perspective. And
Okay, I see.
I took my mind off work, but it was nothing. It was not on holiday. I came relaxed from back.
I see. Okay, I misunderstood because I have seen it happen both ways. You could have booked a trip to the beach where you have nothing to do, you're given all the food in the world that you want, and yet your brain is still focused on work. So this was it was physically exhausting, but mentally you were fine, you met good
Yeah.
people. Okay, got a chance to detach from work. So how did you feel at the end of it when you came back? Were you like, I'm ready to work again?
No, I would have loved an additional week. It's something I learned in last year, but I have booked already this sailing trip. I need 2 weeks off from work to calm down, to relax, and get the stress off before I can go work again. So that is something I took for myself. My vacations ahead are all planned for 2 weeks or longer.
Okay. And does that include fall?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. So fall will be for at least 2 weeks. Yeah, I think that's a really good thing to learn about yourself. And I think that's probably pretty standard. I have taken sometimes a Friday off of work, just one day. And just that thought of Friday is done, Saturday is done, and I think I have a whole other day to relax is
Yeah.
something that finally strikes me. And it takes you time to get out of that mentality of I'm stuck in my normal routine. I've got work on my mind. So I think that's really good to do. The other thing, and this is taking things to an extreme, I take lots and lots of notes. Every time my wife and I go somewhere or do something, I have a note called vacation learnings. And I write down, was the weather the right weather that we wanted? Would we have
Yeah.
changed something about where we stay? So perfect that you realized, yes, I need to take 2 weeks from now on. Do you foresee any problems with being able to take 2 weeks off of work at a time?
No.
Okay.
It's obviously taking a vacation on work is never a good timing. There
Yeah.
are always stuff on, but it's nothing preventing me from taking a holiday.
Gotcha. Okay. And that's good. And having people who are understanding about the situation and accommodating that. Regardless, even if they weren't understanding, you need to do what you need to do sometimes. So, okay, great. Yeah, so you got your massage and you liked it
Yeah,
enough to do another one.
right. I have prepared another holiday. So after taking my sailing trip, I'm planning on doing a 2 week vacation in Turkey this May, actually, in 2 weeks. And I'm looking forward to it. And right after this one, I've booked the second massage for myself and my girlfriend. Yeah,
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
it was
So
really great. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear it. I think these are things that are nice ways to celebrate. I know you said originally you'd spend a lot of money on people, and
Yeah.
that could be great too. I'm not judging that, but it's also nice to have something that is, focused on you sometimes or just helps you relax. Um, so now let me get this straight. You've taken a week recently for the sailing trip. You're going to take 2 weeks at the end of May and then 2 weeks in the fall. Does that represent your year's vacation? Is there more to it than that?
I have a second, the sixth week in this year is around the holidays in December.
Okay.
So basically between Christmas and New Year's, and I'm planning on doing the second week of this vacation in January, but I can't book it yet.
Yeah, yeah, I see. And out of curiosity, if you were to say, I want 7 weeks or 8 weeks, Is that something your company would say, okay, take it, but it's unpaid, or what?
So basically, I'm able to do. Um, I was informed that our audio is not as well.
Oh, it says
Could that
audio
be?
is good. That's the only comment I see.
Okay,
Okay.
maybe it's our internet connection. Okay,
Okay.
I was yeah. Okay, so where were we? Sorry.
Oh, just could
Oh,
you?
seven,
Yeah, yeah,
seven
yeah,
week. It would be unpaid, yeah.
yeah.
But you have to inform your supervisor, your manager, I guess 3 months in beforehand. So it's a process behind this, but it's possible, yeah.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
really uncommon.
Yeah, yeah. And I think 6 weeks is a healthy amount of time. I think that's good, especially knowing that you can detach. And now that you're going to be taking 2 weeks at a time, it should be pretty interesting to see the effects of that because, if you hadn't known this beforehand, then I guess you were doing like partial relaxation on your vacations before. Were you
Mhm.
mostly taking 1 week at a time?
No, I was uh, sometimes. Sometimes I took some um, German holidays. So basically, one day and made an 1.5 week vacation out of it,
Yeah.
and it was short. I need my 2 weeks of vacation minimum. Better 3 weeks, but yeah.
Okay. Well, so originally I'd asked you, okay, how did you feel leaving this? And you said 1 week is not enough, and we talked about that. Did you settle into work well enough when you got back, even though you weren't totally ready? Excuse me.
Yeah, I guess. So I have a lot on my plate.
Hmm.
I have a bunch of tasks that were left for my manager to do for me now, and I
Hmm.
have the project that is still ongoing. But it's, I guess, the usual day work which was meeting me. So it wasn't something that was hard to figure out or come back to.
Yeah.
But it was yeah, the usual stuff. Obviously with a lot of new stuff for me in my new role, but nothing unwelcoming for
Okay.
me.
That makes sense. Um, do you generally, and I want to get to the other bullet points you have, but these thoughts are crossing my mind. Do you feel like when work is done that you're able to detach for the day?
It depends on the day. Um, This is something I currently struggle with. I have some bullet notes later on, but I guess we can talk about it now. Um, I have no stress outlet at the moment.
Hmm.
Everything I tried to do is currently not working. I have some theories on why, but it's nothing tangible I can act on. Yeah, there's a German word called Schweinehund, which is there is no English translation, I'm sure of it, but basically it means that you something is holding you back from doing the things you should do,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's an mindset thing, an inner thing, and yeah, I'm currently struggling with it. Yes.
Okay. Um, all right. How about this? Since you said it's a bullet point you have later, I'll remember this for now, and we can go through the list that you presented here. But yeah, I do definitely want to dig into that later.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a few bullet points down. It's not too far
Okay.
ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so that was my personal blog I prepared for today, and I wanted to talk about the career things I got on my plate now.
Hmm.
So I've mentioned you in the last session. I'm preparing for doing some recruitment tasks,
Yeah.
and basically I had 15 interviews in the past month, so a bunch. And I started out shadowing some experienced manager, and I was um, happy to see that my instincts were aligning with their judgment, which was a confidence boost in that regard. And we hired 3 candidates and have still open positions we are trying to fill. And it was really nice to see how the other side works. I was only on the interviewed part,
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
interviewing parts. And it was a nice experience, and I'm looking forward to the next recruiting processes. Yeah.
That's good, partially because it's part of your job now. So if you
Yeah.
weren't looking forward to it, that would be unfortunate. Have those 3 candidates started already?
2 of them.
Okay. And did either of those 2 work for you?
Um, the one works in the project I'm trying to delegate to a new peer. Yeah.
Yeah. And is that person going to take on that project?
No, he's the lead developer. So kind of, yeah, in that regard, that he's trying to fill the leading developer part, where I was the PO, so the counterpart, the direct counterpart on that end, but not as a product owner.
Okay. So I think you mentioned this earlier that that project is still, yeah, there's also the ongoing project. I'm assuming
Mhm.
you're talking about that. And last time we talked, it was taking up about 25% of your time. Is it still roughly the same amount of input from you?
It's less.
Yeah.
I was able to delegate most of the work to the peer. I wasn't sure he could take on
Yep.
the
I
task,
figured.
but he proves more skilled than I've thought, and hence I am able to delegate more and more tasks to him. And he's now running the project, but there are still some meetings I attend to, mostly because they are political and it's a mess from a management perspective. And if he needs a helping hand, I go in and help him.
Okay. I want to drill into the part where you said he's proven to be more skilled than you might have thought. Why do you think that's the case?
um, I guess because I gave him the opportunities to figure out it by himself. So there, when I took meetings with him, he was always the lead developer that might be able to take over the product owner role. But I couldn't be sure because I didn't delegate enough tasks to be sure. And that's a lesson learned for me. Maybe take off the hands and see where it goes.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why I was grinning at the beginning. One, you gave the perfect answer that you could have had here, which is I let go of the reins for a bit and things went great. And I think people generally need a few things in order to thrive. I think they need some amount of autonomy and just respect and trust. And the autonomy part, I'm sure you respected and trusted this person, but they didn't have the opportunity to prove
Mhm.
that they could handle things. And all of a sudden, once you gave them that opportunity, they rose to the challenge. And it sounds like the project's going well. And also, it doesn't sound like this is too much of a time commitment for you. Is that the case too? Like you'd be happy with this level for the next however long?
So that's the thing. I'm not sure, not quite sure yet. My current manager was asking me if I could transition into product management
Hmm.
uh, instead of my product owner role, and hence I am required to take off my hands from the project and move on to project management. But I haven't started project management yet because the new role as a people manager, as a manager, is taking too much time currently. Yeah.
Okay. Let me get this part straight. So you mentioned that your manager wants you to do project management. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And you're a product owner right now.
Yes.
Okay. So what is project management at your company?
It's basically so my product, as a product owner, I was working on a small product within our big enterprise software.
Hmm.
And basically, moving to project management means directing the vision and the roadmaps for the enterprise software instead of the small project within.
Okay, I see. Uh, instead of a small one. Um, okay, so this is a shift from at least what I had in mind for what you would be doing, although I may not have ever been totally clear on this. You wanted this leadership position, and I thought it was like just an increase in scope of what you were doing. But I think this now represents sort of a shift into, hey, instead of focusing on this product that you were working on, now focus back on the big enterprise stuff, which sounds like there's maybe more scope and opportunity there.
Yeah,
Yeah. Is that
right.
something you're excited about? Do you like that?
Yes, especially with the thought in my mind that CTO is a bigger picture than working on a small
Yeah.
project, and I like this direction. This is another opportunity to grow into my vision of a CTO,
Yeah.
um, and hence I welcome the change. I would have loved to have a few more months to settle into this one role before moving the next thing I work on. But yeah, sometimes opportunities arise, and I have to take it.
Yeah. And I think there's a big difference between good busy and bad busy. Good busy is
Mhm.
having a lot of things on your plate, but feeling like you can manage it. And bad busy is feeling overwhelmed by things. And I know you just said you'd like to have had a few more months, but sometimes you don't get that. Is it overwhelming? I guess you've mentioned already there's stress and you can't figure out how to tone that stress down.
So because of the stress, I haven't taken on the project management role yet. I have said I want to do this, but I have to still first figure out how to settle down the project and my time in the project before also in the small product I'm working on before moving into this new role. And I haven't gotten a feedback yet on when I'm expected to work on this project manager role.
Okay, so it's possible that it's soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, there is quite a lot to figure out here. For one, if you're expected to take on a new role and feel like you don't have the time, I think this learning that you just figured out with your peer about giving them some space and the
Mhm.
opportunity to learn things, I think you'll probably need to end up applying that sooner and with more people. What is taking up your time that could be delegated?
Um, Currently, I'm supporting a CEO and my manager in sales conversation with a potential big customer, and they need someone who is skilled in talking to political people. So it's as I mentioned, we work in the public sector, and hence the political expertise is needed there. And this is something only a few people have in my company, and I'm one of them. So this is time which I see in the future as getting free. But it's taking quite a few hours a week currently. So this is one chunk. I have the meetings I mentioned in the product, in the small project, where um, I hope to get them freed in a few weeks. And I hope this is enough time on the block to transition into project management.
I see. So the two main portions you can delegate are this arena where you need some political skills and no one else currently has them. So is there someone you've identified as a potential delegate for that who could take over or start shadowing?
Um, yes, but I don't think it's required. I think it's quite rare to have those customers knock on your door, and
Mm,
so I don't think it's necessary to delegate any more of them or find a peer to shadow me. because it's only, let's say, every year or two. It's really rare, and hence I don't see it quite fitting to be have someone shadow me. Yeah.
I see. I see. Okay. So in some number of maybe couple of weeks or something, this should just evaporate and
Yeah.
there. Okay. And then the other one you said is this small project, and you're hoping that I guess the combination of your peer who was already at the company and this new lead developer who was just hired,
Mhm.
those two can take on this thing,
Yeah.
and you won't even need to stand in for political reasons anymore. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Uh, it's funny because something will always find a way to fill your time.
Yeah.
And ideally, the best you can hope for is just that it's the right things, the things that are highest priority. And you just mentioned that you're not sure when this project management would come about. It's possible it's
Mhm.
soon, it's possible it's later, and it's possible that it's soon and yet it's not urgent. So they're just trying to start you on it, but maybe it could last for longer. How will you
Yeah.
get more certainty on what they're expecting out of that?
I guess the first thing is figuring out who is expecting what,
Hmm.
because I'm not sure who are the stakeholders of this decision. I obviously talked to my manager about this, and he was looking forward to it. There's the basically it's called tribe lead, which is the colleague that is responsible for any money decision made in this project,
Yeah.
which is not basically directly tied to the product management. Um, he was telling me that he was looking for someone to uh, staff the project management role. Um, I guess he would want it directly and as soon as possible. But this would be an expectation I could manage and put off for a few weeks or month if it's required. And then there's the current project manager role or group. There are four other project managers that are looking for support as well, and obviously they want support as soon as possible. And those are the stakeholders I'm not quite sure of. And
Oh,
yeah, I know what they would answer if I would ask them, what do you expect when I'm starting? And
okay.
that's not helping.
So I want to get this straight, and I'm going to try to say as few German words as possible
I'm
because
sorry.
I don't want to embarrass myself. There's someone who controls the money. I'm just going to call them the treasurer or something. They,
Tribe lead, I have called them.
what are they called?
It's two English words, tribe lead.
Oh, okay. Got you. So that person, though, you believe in their need for your
Yeah.
time as a project manager, and it's the other project managers that you're not sure about.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, so if all four project managers are saying we're swamped, we need more people, you've mentioned that there's hiring going on. You've already hired three people, and you said there are still more roles. I'm just asking out of curiosity, have they thought of hiring a project manager?
I don't think so. And I couldn't reason you a good reason why they shouldn't. Um, I guess the current mentality is you have to be working in this field for a few years because before you can staff this role. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's reasonable for you to eventually take it on, and you seem happy with the opportunity, and it's just a question
Yeah.
of timing. So I don't think that's problematic. If these project managers, you think you could hold them off for another month or so, it also sounds like that timeline would work out pretty well with you being able to settle both the customer negotiation and the smaller
Mhm.
project that you mentioned. So I think without knowing more and without digging in anymore, it sounds like probably delaying this until you feel you have the time is the right move so that you don't feel stretched too thin, because that is a very real concern from all of this.
Yeah.
So yeah, um, delay until you have the time, which should happen in the next month or so. Yeah.
But coming back to the beginning of this conversation, this uncertainty makes me stress. I don't know when, where, and what will happen, and I'm the planner guy. I told you in the first few sessions, I was trying to plan our sessions, and obviously that wasn't working. And yeah, my current few next month aren't plannable, and yeah, uncertainty makes me stressed. Yeah.
Well, in this case, I think there are always a couple of things you can do with uncertainty. One is try to turn it into certainty, and the other is try to live in that uncertain world. And in this case, given that there are about 5 people involved, and it sounds like the uncertainty is coming from the project managers, is there a way you could talk to them or a person that they represent, like a manager or something?
I mean, yeah, sure, but I couldn't imagine something that they could say to make me less stressed. And I'm uncertain about the transition phase and not the outcome of this phase.
I see. I see. Yeah. So the transition being you're still already in a transition, which isn't going to
Yeah.
end, which is this new role, and then also taking on project management.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this though. How did it work with this last transition phase, knowing that you're still in it? Beforehand, you were excited, you were taking this exam, you wanted to pass with flying colors. Now you're settling into the role. Now that you can look back, again, it's not over, you're still in the transition phase, but did it go poorly? What would you have changed?
It went pretty good, I guess. I would have changed a few things, especially with timing. But I couldn't have predicted this at the time when I was transitioning into this role. So basically, I would have taken the exam a few months earlier, and yeah, it was basically timing stuff. But I would love to tell you that I would be able to turn down my stress levels through this transition period, but I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, yeah, and we're definitely going to touch on that soon too. But part of what I'm trying to uncover here is that you just went through a very, very large transition and you seemed mostly good. Now, I know there's still been stress as part of that, and I think you're now at a level where I don't think your job will ever let you coast again. So if you started a company, you're maybe college hire or something, you could certainly coast probably half the time, 3/4 of the time, and still get your job done. You now have a level of responsibility, people who depend on you, hiring, talking to customers, et cetera, where we're probably not going to ever get back to coasting. So with that said, there's always going to be a baseline level of stress and inputs. And as long as you're healthily managing those, I don't think there's a problem. So you just had a transition. Like I said, sounds like it was mostly good. What was different between that transition and this one that you perceive coming up about project management?
I guess nothing. I think I was the only difference I can identify right now is that I wasn't in a transition phase before going into this transition. So I have a double transition right now, which I hadn't before starting the new role.
Yeah. Yeah, this is certainly something that would stretch you. And I think if you identify that it's an opportunity you do want and that maybe this will only come around now, or I don't like what are the odds you could push this off for 6 months so that they could just be the same as last time? You're going from stability to transition.
I don't think that's an option.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's and we're going to dig into this some more, but remember you have a limited amount of time and it's figuring out how you spend that time. So I think you'll probably need to start leaning on something else to reduce your stress. And I know you haven't found that thing and we'll drill into that, but yeah, I can't say this will be stress-free or we can get some way of having this be stress-free. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm bothered by the most, I think, guys. I have no vent to get off this stress. And
Yeah.
you asked me what if I could disconnect right after the workday, and the answer is currently no. And I want to change that instead of the stress I have at work.
Yeah. Okay, um let me look through some of your bullet points here really fast so I can see. Uh,
I guess we touched on a few of them already.
yeah, okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna bump one of these down a bit, and I want to talk about this because this is definitely the most pressing thing. A lot of stress currently. Okay. You mentioned being pulled in too many directions, not having an outlet, sports streak is broken. Let's see, programming in the evening doesn't work as well. In the past, what have you been in a situation that resembles anything like this, where you feel like you've been stressed for an extended period of time?
Yeah, there were quite a few transition phase. So basically, right after university, looking for a job and coming into this new programmer role and starting at my first company. Transitioning to the current company wasn't a phase which was quite long and stressful. Um, and right after I got the product owner role, also this transitioning phase where I wasn't sure what I was expected from me, especially handling customers with such a political yeah, background.
Okay. And now that all of those things are in the past, is there anything you've identified in common of how you got through them? Because I suspect I know the answer, but I want to, yeah.
There was programming for me. There was
Yeah.
always, I could in the evening go to my computer, boot up my laptop, and start programming my app or some other project. But it was always in a transitioning phase where my mind wasn't so stressed that I couldn't think in the evening. But so currently, I'm so my energy is so low right after work that I can't focus on programming, and hence my stress outlet is gone for the evening.
Yeah. I see. Um, and then eventually, the transition finishes, and then you feel like you've got things under control. And by the
Yeah,
way, that's going to happen again here too. I'd like to find a way for you to not have so much stress through it that you feel like you're operating at maximum capacity the entire time.
yeah. I
So,
know I have two things I know work for me. Three actually. So blasting music really loud is one of them. Doing sports and uh, depends on the stress I have. Meeting friends and family.
yeah.
Those are the three outlets that work. But I'm currently not motivated to do any of them. Yeah. So music, I don't feel like music would help me in this circumstance. Sports would help. I have missed meditating. Those would help too. But I'm struggling to start this habit in so much stress I am under.
Yeah. Okay. So, this is something I've struggled with too. And what's hard to say is even if I had a solution that worked for me, it wouldn't necessarily work for you as well unless we could
Mhm.
figure out what's general enough from that. Something I've created for myself is a stress flow chart. And I've talked about this before a little bit, but it was pretty much just when I'm stressed because of, let's say, sickness or physical pain, or, a friend did something that bothered me. I try to figure out what has helped me move past those things. And a lot of times I actually have come to an answer that's helped, because for something like, let's say you get sick, it's like, well, it's pretty obvious. Usually it's rest, and
Mhm.
that'll help you get through. Okay, fine. But now something like this, where your mind is just kind of constantly active and you don't feel like you have energy, I think it can be really, really hard to 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 come up with a way to put it at ease. And especially when you don't feel motivated. I have some ideas, and I want to just kind of talk to you about some of these.
Mhm.
For one, you and your girlfriend just went on the sailing trip. Is she
I
generally?
went alone,
Oh, you
not
went
with
alone.
my girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But the next one is with her?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I assumed it was both that were with her.
No.
Anyway, is she generally sort of in tune with your stress level, and has she ever been like, "Hey, let's go do whatever, a weekend or hiking or something like that?"
She's very attuned and she knows when I'm stressed, but she isn't pushing me to do something if I'm really low on energy.
And even if she did, does she have any ideas that are beyond the like some sports thing?
Um, I'm sure she has, but she doesn't vocalize them.
Yeah, I see. Because the idea that I'm getting at here is that potentially you can put this into somebody's hands a little bit, and typically,
Mhm.
close friends, significant other, some family, and say, "I am going through a rough time. Can you help?" It's not necessarily explicitly stated that way, but something like, "Hey, things have been busy. Do you mind setting up a get together or something
Mhm.
like that?" Are you still doing you said there was a group of friends that's playing Dungeons and Dragons and they got together regularly. Is that still
Yeah,
happening?
yes, but
Okay.
that's only once a month, and yeah, it's
Does that help?
too rarely. Yeah, yeah, 100%. But I feel refueled for a few days afterwards, but not for a month, basically,
Right.
until we see each other again. Yeah.
Right. So, okay. Because I'm not suggesting this, but if you did D&D 20 times as often, you might feel refueled for the whole month, right? So
Might be, yeah.
I think what this comes down to is, like I said, leaning on other people and getting these things to happen without you needing to do them necessarily.
Hmm.
So a sports thing, maybe there's someone you want to go running or climbing or any number of things. And for you to set it up would be tough, but maybe for you to know that hey, this Saturday we're doing
Hmm.
whatever, I would suggest asking your friends, asking your girlfriend, hey,
Yeah.
can you do some of that? And then uh, the other thing I was going to say is if they don't want to, or if you want to direct what that is, you could sort of consider like body doubling was a way to get things done that are productive with other people. But you
Hmm.
can sort of consider like, hey, can we just, I don't know, you need to go grocery shopping or something. Can I be with you when I go do this? Or start joining people for your activities that you might already be
Oh,
doing, but that aren't
yeah.
necessarily thought intensive processes. So
I like that idea. Yeah.
yeah. Um, Beyond that, I think programming at the end of the day, yeah, almost certainly won't work in this situation because you probably have almost no energy left. And then the sports stuff, you said you haven't had the motivation to do it on your own. Is there any other, have you, like, would it be possible to join a class or something, or is that in the same category of not having motivation?
I think it's the issue of joining the class. It's not the attending a class, but I don't want to start something new if I'm this stressed, and yeah, hence the struggle to get going. I have so if it would be in a class signed up for it, and we're going a few times a week. That was would nothing preventing me from going there, but signing up for a new class would be.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, then I think the good thing to start would just be to lean on your current support network and see how you can pull your mind away from some of this. And I hope that helps. If it does work, you can ratchet that up pretty easily and just say, okay, now let's do
Mhm.
things whatever twice a week. But yeah, and then the other aspect I wanted to talk about. So that was one, which is how do we find some replacement for these activities? And then the second is how do we take away activities that might be adding to this? And it doesn't
Mhm.
necessarily mean personal things. It could be something you're doing at work. Is there any way that you could, let's say, expedite the getting rid of the smaller project that you're working on?
It shows the only thing I'm not stressed about. So
Okay.
yeah, it's the project I'm running on and running since a few years and 1.5 years, and I'm so settled in that it isn't putting on more stress. Um, I guess the more immediate thing I would be able to do is finishing this new customer sales pitch we are working on. But that's nothing that the business would like to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. Okay, well, is there anything else? So maybe interviewing, could you hold off on that for a little bit?
Um, I don't think so.
Okay.
There's currently so much going on, and yeah, there are some. Our parent company is putting a lot of pressure on us to do this recruitment stuff, and I don't think I'm able to put this aside.
Okay. Um, I I think you've got a good idea of this exercise, at least, of analyzing what could be there at work. So I'm not going to go through everything necessarily, but if there is something where you think, yes, this is important, but it can be held off for another month, probably hold off for another month then. And even something like this project management transition, talking to these project managers who exist now and saying, look, realistically, this can't happen until after my trip to Turkey. And even then, maybe it takes another week or something like that. So there's that. That's the work side of things. Personal side, is there anything going on that, I mean this in the nicest possible way, is typical Peter, where it's like, I'm doing way too much. I've got a ton on my plate.
um, so I don't know if you saw this. I'm working on the last 20% of my app, and it's the last 20% are never the funnest. And I guess I'm currently looking into this as if I finally do this, a lot of stress is lifted, and if I try to put it aside, it's still on my mind, and I can't put it aside really easily. And since it's so close to launch, it's basically the last. Let's call it the last 2% to 5%, and I guess I want to release it possibly this next month. I hope for this weekend, but I'm not sure if I can manage this. But I hope if it's complete, if it's launched, I have a lot less on my plate than I'm currently having. Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad I said the typical Peter thing, because this is typical Peter. You want to launch an app while you're at your most stressed. I should be yelling at you right now. Look, really, I know what you said about you probably would stress yourself out by putting it aside, but I feel like, again, at the level you're operating, at the amount of things that are going on in your life, that is an easier pill to swallow than to do all of this stuff at once. So trying to get on board with this idea of, well, what if I launch the app in 2 months? And you can even set a time for yourself. But right now, it's a commitment that I'm assuming is a commitment to yourself. Have you, promised investors or so commitment to yourself, which means it's the easiest thing to drop relatively, because no one else is relying on this or expecting it. And it's not even something you're dropping. It's something you are delaying.
I'm really not sure if this would help my mind. Because so if I got the motivation and the mind to do programming in the evening, I am feeling less stressed afterwards. So it is still working if I have the mind to do so.
Yeah.
So on a weekend, so basically for a long weekend like this upcoming one, it's something I'm looking forward to, and it's motivating me to look forward to the weekend. And yeah, I'm not focused on the 1 month or 2 month thing. I'm working day to day and seeing where it goes and when I'm able to launch. But I hope if it's launched and when it's launched, it's something I could put aside more easily. Yeah.
Assuming you don't start something new and say, I want to make another
Obviously.
app. Well, okay.
Obviously.
So there's a trend that I'm seeing, which I'm going to throw this out there, but I haven't fully formulated this thought myself. You were working on this project with your peer, and at the beginning of our mentoring sessions, it was before you had stepped into this leadership role, and you weren't sure if they were ready, and you even touched on it today where you said they've proven that they're skilled at this.
Mhm.
So by you putting aside the time for them to work on this and giving them the opportunity, they, like I said earlier, rose to the challenge and everything worked out great. This is another one of those cases where, yeah, now you said you're at 2 to 5%, but somewhat recently you were at 7 to 8%, and before that
Mhm.
12 to 30. If you had, I wonder, if you had set this aside at the 20% mark and said, you know what, I know this is helping somewhat, I'm just going to drop this and see what happens. I wonder if that would have created the space for something else to fill its place that is more relaxing than work, that could still give you that feeling of, I'm looking forward to that this weekend.
I guess my mind isn't working as like you mentioned. So what you're suggesting is in my mind sounds like try to make free time and see what you can fit inside to make you less stressed. What my mind is looking for is let me find something else that is more stress relieving than programming, and then I set aside programming easily and do this thing I found. And I haven't found something else.
Yeah, but I think this is because it's related to the desire to always keep doing the next step and to move forward and to have progress in things. And the reason why I think this is important to touch on is if you were to step somehow out of your body and just look at your life from the outside and think, am I happy with how things are going? You'd probably be very happy with, okay, I've grown in this leadership role. I passed the exam. You recently got the pay raise or are getting it very, very soon. You have this opportunity for project management. Then you look at your personal life and you're like, I'm sailing again. I've learned this thing about vacations. I'm spending time with my friend. There's so much that's going well. And so if you can find a way to be satisfied with what's going well, then you might not be seeking out more. And I think recognizing that right now you're in almost 2 transition periods is what will make that easier to come to terms with, such
Mhm.
that then maybe you're not seeking out a more relaxing activity. You're like, I've done my work for the week, so I don't have the urge to do more work, and I recognize it'd be pushing me too far.
I don't see programming as a work, but I think I know what you meant. Yeah, um, it's possible, and it's something I have to reflect over. It's nothing what comes easy to me. I'm not the kind of person that watches TV in the evening for relaxation. I'm not the. I want to do something to yeah, relax. So programming was the most easiest one. Um,
Okay, let me
yeah.
split a hair here. I know you said the programming is fun, but you also yourself said the last 20% isn't the funnest. So there's
Mhm.
other work that's going on in releasing this that you must not be enjoying for you to have said that.
Yeah, obviously.
Okay, yeah.
Releasing an app on Android is horrendous.
Yeah, well, so that's what I'm saying. Like you're looking forward to the parts that are fun, and yet the fun doesn't come in isolation. It's
Mhm.
attached to these tasks that you don't like, which I'm not sure if there is a net negative on your stress as a result of that. It's possible that you're like, well, cool, the programming part was fun, and then you've got a half hour of struggling with whatever the Google Play Store.
Yeah.
You,
It's really, really bad.
okay, but see, this is what I'm talking about. You're looking at only the positives of this thing and then saying, yeah, but look, this is why this is not causing stress.
Yeah.
And yet you've said now that the experience was rough multiple times. So,
I think my net negative, my net result is positive in dealing with stress, but it's not as positive as only programming. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, launching an Android app. Uh, yeah, and the reason I mention all this is because when you're in a situation like this, I don't think there's ever going to be a very, very clear, easy, obvious solution of, oh, why didn't I think of that before? Of course, I'll just go,
Mhm.
whatever, sail every weekend. It's not going to happen because your mentality is intertwined with all of these parts. The wanting to do more is what's getting you into these transition periods, which are generally good, but then by being in them for these short amounts of time, you're at maximum capacity for your stress. So now you
Mhm.
need to pull this from something, and it's hard to identify what things to pull it from. And at work, we went through a laundry list of things there, and you said there aren't any clear opportunities to cut back. and the
Yeah.
ones that you could cut back on are not stressful. And now I'm starting to think, are they not stressful like how releasing an Android app isn't stressful, or are they honestly not stressful? And I think in your small project, it's just honestly not
Yeah.
stressful because, like you said, you've been working on it for a couple of years. But that's another thing that I would start to, just like how you learned that my vacation should be 2 weeks instead of one, I'd start to think about what are the patterns I'm getting into with my thinking that ends up getting me in stressful situations, and how can
Mhm.
I address them when they're just thoughts before they've become commitments and personal responsibility. So yeah, I think this is one of those, like, probably come back to this, think about it,
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
how this resonates with you. Um, yeah, because let me ask you this: what if you were in this same level of stress for something like 6 months? What do you think would happen?
I would need to find a stress outlet beforehand.
Yeah, and given that you're in a situation now where you've already identified this is a need, I think it's worth focusing on sooner rather than later, and trying things out. And so after you get done with this app, like you said, it could be this weekend, it could be this month. Okay, that's fine because the next transition period isn't probably starting for a month anyway, as you wrap up these other responsibilities at work. But then once it has wrapped up, that should essentially mean you are now a leader, a project manager. You're no longer working on your personal app. Is something going to fill that personal time again such that you're again at maximum stress? And there's a tendency to do that. So
Yeah.
yeah, what's leading to stressful situations? Will something just replace app after it's launched? And what else was I going to say? Yeah. And if you were in this situation for another few months, what would you do? Try to find a solution. So find one now. Okay, yeah. I'm writing this. It sounds kind of terse, but it's just me summarizing what our thoughts were from this. So uh yeah, I think the more immediate thing that you can try at least is leaning on other people and seeing, hey, can you invite me to things, or can you set something up, or can we do something to take my mind off of this, and
Yeah.
see where that goes and how you feel. And by the way, it could be something as simple to start with as, hey, let's do a D&D session twice a month. It
Yeah.
doesn't solve your problem, but it's another thing that could potentially help. Um, okay, so there was one other thing that I'd moved down here, and then you also mentioned your app, which we touched on.
Yeah. So, yeah, right. So I had my first one-on-ones with my directs, and yeah, it's some observation I took from this is written down there. It's fun to see. Fun is a wrong word, but it's quite interesting to see that some people are actively looking into growing themselves and developing new skills and tendencies and habits, and others are trying to do a really good job, but not going beyond uh, for them. And it was because I was always the kind of person that is looking to develop themselves and grow. It was nothing that could cross my mind to get someone bluntly to tell me, yeah, I don't know, I don't want to grow anymore, and I want to do a great job, but that's it. And yeah, that was a yeah really interesting observation I
I,
took from this
out of curiosity,
talk.
did
Yeah.
this come up? Like, did someone actually say that to you? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. And how did you respond in the moment?
Uh, it is really fine because I know they are doing a great job.
Yeah.
I would have. I don't know if how I would have reacted if they don't would do a great job. But as long as they do what is assigned to them, and everyone is happy with their results, it's totally fine.
There's a phenomenon that I've been seeing as people grow in their careers where eventually, at least around me, like I said, I live in a massive tech city,
Mm.
and half the people you talk to are Microsoft or Amazon employees. Um, where you hit a level where you have you've been in it for long enough, you've sort of made enough money, you're comfortable with where you are, where the career ambitions shift into something else. Either they take on a hobby, they start a family, something happens to sort of fill that time, and they're just happy with their career. And like you said, they don't do a bad job, but they're not trying to get to be the next level. And we're all wired differently. And you started this series by saying like, hey, I want to eventually be CTO. So how do we work toward that? And so I think it is a contrast to what you mentioned about this employee. And yet it's valuable to have all types of different people at a company.
Yeah.
And you don't know what your own journey is going to contain. Maybe 10 years from now, you are on the total opposite end of the spectrum saying, you know what, I'm sailing 49 weeks a year and I'm working for 3 weeks. Who knows? So I think it's good that you at least didn't push this person in a direction that they shouldn't go in. And if they weren't doing a good job, I would hope you'd guide them back on track. And I have confidence that you would do that. But it is an interesting observation to make.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's usually at least kind of somewhat obvious by how people carry themselves at work, what camp they fall into.
I guess I struggle to. So every position I have seen in my company where people did a good job, they transitioned in a few years or months into something new, and hence I wasn't expecting to see them saying, "No, I'm doing a great job, but I don't want to change."
Yeah.
And yeah, it wasn't something I would have thought this person would say.
You know, it's very tough. We just went on a walk this weekend with some friends and they joined us at the beginning, but they weren't planning on joining us all the way to the end. And so originally the plan was they would walk for half of the amount of time that they thought would get them tired and then turn around. And I was like, that's a very tough, like really think about it. How do you know when double this length would put you at being tired? And yet that's essentially what that employee did, right? They said, I think if I went one level higher, I would be frustrated with the balance that I have. And it takes a lot of effort to not just keep pushing for, okay, I get more money, I get more responsibility, because at some point that equation tips against you. So
it was someone on this sailing trip had the observation one level higher. So basically, they told me if in retrospective, I would have stopped one level lower than I'm now, and I can't go back now, but I would love to do so.
Yep. That is a very common sentiment, I think, because it's one of those, you don't know until you're there. And then once you're there, it's not like you can go back. And I have an interview scheduled on stream for the end of, I think, June or July or something, where this is one of the topics we're going to talk about is mental health in tech and just the impact it has on everybody who intersects with it. I think we're at time. Yeah. Any kind of last thoughts here? Anything that we didn't get to cover that you really want to talk about?
No, I think we talked about everything.
Okay.
I had some books written down, but obviously everyone can read. But yeah, no.
Okay, yeah, and we can bump it for next time. As I mentioned, this series was supposed to be about somewhere like 6 to 9 sessions, so we'll still kind of figure out how that goes. But I'm about to take a vacation. I know you're going to Turkey, so we'll figure out the scheduling and book a session 6 at some point. But thank you very much, Peter. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you too, and have a great holiday if you can't talk beforehand.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, enjoy.
Thanks.
All right, see you, Peter.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, chat. You know the drill. Claps for Peter. Takes a lot of guts to be on a thing like this and share everything about your professional life and how you feel. So I really appreciate it. And Jan Kocha, thanks for resubbing. I heard the noise, but I couldn't actually respond during the session. Yeah. So I need to write a couple of quick notes to myself. That is very relatable. Yeah, I think this is what's interesting about getting mentees of different experience levels. And right now, unfortunately, like mildly unfortunately, that everyone is closer to the same level and farther. It's not like I have a super junior mentee and a super senior mentee and someone in the middle. They're all like more toward the senior end of the spectrum. So you do end up hearing the problems you run into as a more senior person. I wanna think about how these are gonna go eventually, and I haven't made a decision yet. I don't even know what I'm gonna do about payment for this sort of thing. Right now, it's all free, and I've told the mentees that. But in the future, I think if I were to continue this, I'd probably either do I think I'd probably aim for more one-off sessions. They're just easier. There's less to schedule, less to do, and probably put a price tag on them. But anyway, I don't know. But that would probably let us get some more junior people in too. Yeah, so mentoring Peter, I want to say the follow-ups from this are the usual: schedule another session, put the video online, and then put it in the spreadsheet. Yeah. Oh, you heard the noise too? Yeah, okay. Just making sure I set everything back to normal. Trying to solve eternal problems of balance and stress. Yeah. I think it's very tough. And as I mentioned, I really do have a stress flow chart, and it has come in handy quite a lot because I think we tend to forget what's worked for us in the past. And it could be something as simple as, like I said, it's like when you get sick, what do you do? And yeah, I've learned time and again, it's like it's rest. Typically just stay in bed. But I need to convince myself of that all the time. Going to pursue a dual degree in computer science with a specialization in AI or gaming. Think of doing an MSc in USA after that. Can I get a... Not sure what this question means. What do you mean, good boy? Yeah, also, I'm going to get going pretty soon. Let me just scroll up really fast. Yeah. Which editor was I using to write? I was using Google Docs for that. Yeah, Google Docs. And who was that? Two Dorks. Thanks for resubbing. Welcome back. And yeah, thank you, 3D Extended. I appreciate it. I hope it's good food for thought. I hope it leads to some good changes. Oh, good start of the career. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think so. And yeah, I don't think I have too much to add to that. So overworked that I asked my SO to help organize some trip, and that was great, not planning anything. Yep. Yeah, and this is something that you know, there are some cases where I've had a problem and the answer is obvious because it's a very small problem. Like, hey, this thing is bugging me. Oh, have you heard of this product? No, I haven't. You go buy the product. Okay, now that thing's not bugging me anymore. But times like this, I think, are a lot harder. And then sometimes we lose sight of ways that we can possibly affect it. And yeah, don't pull a difficult Peter. I'm glad you smiled at that because otherwise I was like, uh-oh, this could be taken totally the wrong way. All right, I've got to get lunch. It is 12:05. Yeah. So I'm gonna go get some food, and that way, because I've got something I think at 4, so this would work out perfectly because I can stream from 1 to 4. So this afternoon we're gonna work on the PRs, and then we're gonna finish up the skill tree thing, which is I think mostly just doing tooltips. And then if there's extra time, we can do cleanup. If there's not extra time, then I'll save this for tomorrow and I'll just do it off stream, I think. Remember, we're trying to launch the first checkpoint of Skeleseller in 9 days, so tight schedule. Anyway, that's all for me. I will hopefully see you all after lunch. If not, take care. Have a good rest of your day, and see you later.